Cape's leader, sports radio play-by-play. Go A's! Chatham on TRC, Cape Cod. Chatham A's baseball, sports radio play-by-play. Let's go A's! Wooden bats through the fog, playing under the lights. The stars of tomorrow shine tonight.
On another foggy night at Veterans Field, this is Game 18 of the Cape Cod Baseball League season. Tonight, Chatham searches for its first winning streak of the season against Hyannis. With Joe Puccio, I'm Andrew Selover. High above Diamond's side third base line, Joe, the fog has once again rolled in tonight as the Anglers come off a win in dominant fashion last night, 8-1 over Harwich. The Bats got going after the first fog delay of the season.
Yeah, we had a 30-minute fog delay yesterday, and it seemed to give the Anglers some time before the bottom of the third inning to get the bats warm, because Chatham scored 5 runs in the bottom of the third, scored 8 in the game entirely, scored 8 runs on 15 hits as compared to Harwich's 1 run on 4 hits. Tom Holliday said after the game that it's nice to have teams chase them instead of his team chasing others.
That's right, and Chatham got out with a 5 spot in the third inning after the fog delay last night, and the pitching also was a big storyline. The Anglers had given up big numbers, and last night Chatham held Harwich to just 1 run.
Yeah, and I talked to Tom Holliday in the manager's show about Tanner Witt and his performance, but what we'll say is that Tanner Witt has, through 4 innings, gave up 1 hit, no runs, 4 strikeouts, and no walks in a turnaround effort from his first start, which was at Wareham, where he pitched an inning plus and gave up 6 runs. But then Tanner Witt gave the ball to Gabe Davis, who threw 4 innings, gave up 2 hits, a run with 2 strikeouts and a walk. And then Carson Benj, a utility man, two-way player, locked things down in the 9th inning with 2 strikeouts. So Chatham used 3 pitchers, should help the bullpen today.
Flipping the script to today's contest, Joe, getting the start for Chatham is Jack Sokol, his first start this season out of Pittsburgh. He faces off against a Hyannis squad that must be hungry for a victory. Losers of 2 straight, and the Harbor Hawks were walked off by the Bourne Braves last night.
Well, they might be hungry for a victory, but 2 of Hyannis' best hitters are not in the lineup today. Mike Sirota, who is the only Harbor Hawk hitting above 300, is not in the lineup. And Brad Keylori, the team's RBI leader with 8 runs batted in, is also not in the starting lineup. So Hyannis, as you mentioned, could be hungry for a win, but it's going to need to come from some bats that we haven't seen so far this season.
And we'll see if the Harbor Hawks can jump on Jack Sokol when he takes the rubber in the top of the first. But we've still got more to come on the Anglers Extra Pregame Show. The Manager's Show is next with Tom Holliday talking about yesterday's win by 7 over the Mariners. And how about this fog? We're playing for the second night, the Anglers under the lights and the fog at Veterans Field. The Manager's Show is up next. Stay with us on the Cape Cod Baseball Network.
Sports Radio, play-by-play. Go A's! Chatham on TRC.
Chatham Bars Inn is Cape Cod's premier 4-diamond oceanfront resort. With 217 luxurious rooms, guests have access to numerous amenities, including a private beach, complimentary children's programs, 4 award-winning restaurants, a new world-class spa, an outdoor pool, and tennis courts. Year after year, Chatham Bars Inn is recognized as one of the top resorts in the world. Chatham Bars Inn and Cape Cod Baseball. Summer fun for the whole family.
And we're back on the Anglers Extra Pregame Show. Today, Chatham takes on Hyannis at Veterans Field. 7 p.m. is the first pitch. Joe Puccio here with Chatham manager Tom Holliday. Tom, an 8-1 win yesterday. What was your main takeaway from getting off the losing streak?
Well, if you're going to snap a losing streak, you got to catch everything that's hit, you got to throw strikes, and you got to score some runs, and we did all 3. And the guys on the mound, that was a major turnaround for Tanner. Gabe Davis just did exactly what did his first time out, just proving that he's going to be a starting pitcher in the future for him. Benj came on in the ninth, and it was kind of fun to watch. Of course, we had enough cushion, but, I mean, just to watch a guy go out there and act like a closer, and it was kind of good to see that. So my take was we actually, we got some breaks. They made some errors. They threw some wild pitches with guys at third base and 2 outs, which is a run right there, which we haven't been scoring. So everything that we needed to snap that streak happened last night. And so tonight you got to turn around and play a game, and beat a team and go beat them the right way.
After the game, you mentioned that it's nice to have teams chase you rather than chase them. What was that feeling like?
Well, if somebody's 4-10 or whatever we were going into last night, I mean, the minute they see who they're playing, they feel confident. They feel like they're going to get somewhat down the mound that's going to be throwing cupcakes, or somebody that's just going to be beatable. And you got to stop that. You have to jump on somebody, and we did last night. We had a 5-run inning, early, and made life easier for our pitchers instead of being the other way around. And when we've gotten punched out, it's because we've had a really bad inning, and you really can't get anybody ready quick enough. I mean, we've had some quick heart attacks, on the mound. So, the kids need it. I mean, they got to get a little positive energy somewhere, and they got it last night. And again, the key is, like, don't go out and party and celebrate. I mean, it's just one game out of 40, but we needed something good to happen, and it did last night. So, short memory, last night's over, and you're back in your uniform, back doing it again.
8 runs on 15 hits. What'd you think of your offense?
We had probably 3 that they were fog-aided. Is there such a word? I don't know.
Sure.
And other than that, though, I think we had some guys. I thought Shuby hit the ball hard the other way last night and finally got rewarded. I thought Trice hit the ball hard 4 times out of 5. Which, again, the kid likes to hit. And we've only had him 3 days, but last night he showed you that, his bat's his favorite thing. That's his number one toy. And, I don't know. I go back. Caden Kent pulled 2 balls hard last night, which he hadn't pulled a ball in 2 weeks for me. Last night he hit 2 balls hard like a man. That's a good sign. We got a new shortstop, and not so much like he just jumped out and pounded the ball, but he got a couple 2-strike contacts that moved runners, that got guys in, and where we've been striking out a lot with 2 strikes. So, the good things, I mean, Matt Etzel, I think, is totally relaxed now. And, I mean, had good at-bats, really good at-bats. So, I just hope last night's an indicator that we're going to be a better team.
Do you think your offense has shown that potential throughout this early season?
No, not at all. In fact, just the opposite. We had 2 or 3 guys carrying us, and they weren't carrying us very far. I mean, I don't know. Joe, I don't really like to look at statistics up here. Some guys do. Some I don't like to look at that. I mean, I got what I got. What I got is what I picked, so they're mine, and I want them all to have a great summer. But again, you got to take care of that on the mound or with the bat in your hand. So I don't look at numbers, but no, we are not a high-scoring machine whatsoever. And boy, one bad inning on the mound, we've been punched out. Game over.
Tom Holliday here on the Manager Show. Tom, as a baseball whizzes right past me, what are you looking for out of Jack Sokol today?
Boy, Jack went out and threw strikes his first time out, got everybody excited. You just want a repeat performance, and Jack's one of those guys. I took him on a phone call, and he did exactly what his representation said he would do, and it was good. And if the kid gets drafted, good. If he doesn't, he's going to stay here and play, and that's all I ask. If it doesn't happen one way, just make sure you back it up the other way. And so he's immediately at the top of our list. And I'd like to have 3 or 4 good innings out of him tonight. Turn it over to Carlos Ray. And then, try to get to the point where we need to use Brodsky or Max, to close it out. So kind of like the same expectations you always do. And like to stay away from burning your whole bullpen.
Tom, thanks as always.
You bet.
That's Tom Holliday on the Manager Show. Chatham and Hyannis coming up at 7 p.m. Let's send things over to Andrew Selover as the rest of the Anglers Extra Pregame Show continues.
Joe, Tom Holliday hoping that his offense can be sparked by yesterday's explosion in an 8-1 win over Harwich after a tough start to the season at the plate. And you heard a word that he invented, fog-aided, a hit that was aided by the fog to the center fielder last night a couple times. And that one might come into effect on the broadcast tonight as well as the fog continues to steam in towards Veterans Field, and we continue to steam towards first pitch here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. When we come back, we talk to one of the guys that was producing at the plate last night for Chatham. Carter Trice is next on Catch of the Day. Stay with us on the Anglers Extra pregame show.
Anglers Extra. Chatham on TRC. Cape Cod.
Back here on the Anglers Extra pregame show, Andrew Selover joined by Carter Trice on Catch of the Day. Carter, yesterday for you, 4 for 5 day. You're just getting started with Chatham. How did that feel up at the plate?
It was good. It was fun just coming out here and playing again. It's been fun. So,
This is your third summer on Cape Cod. You spent 2 other summers elsewhere. What made you choose Chatham in 2023?
yeah, Tom just gave me an opportunity. I was excited to come up here, so kind of just waiting for an opportunity, and I'm grateful he gave me one. So,
What's been your favorite part over the past 3 years about playing baseball in Cape Cod?
yeah, just meeting a bunch of different guys from a bunch of different schools. Different parts of the country, different personalities. So it's been fun.
Has there been any difference about playing here in Chatham?
It's just a different area. Same thing. Just going out there and playing. Just trying to have fun. So.
This year you joined NC State. What was your experience like with the Wolfpack?
Yeah, it was nice. Just a different experience. Coming from Old Dominion, but it was nice. It was different though.
It's a lot different playing in the ACC?
Yeah, much more better competition, more fans, better facilities. So it was an upgrade for sure.
What has been your favorite part about the first week here in Chatham?
Yeah, just meeting all the guys. Meeting a bunch of different people. It's been fun.
What's the biggest difference for you when you come up here and bat with a wood bat versus the metal that you use at NC State?
Yeah, there really is no difference. It's the same game. It's not changing. The pitcher's on the mound. You're in the box. It's the same game. So just different bat.
Had you ever seen fog like you saw last night?
I have not. So it was neat. It was funny.
A lot of worries out there in the field?
Yeah, a little bit. I wasn't out there, but the other guys said so. It was funny.
Seemed to help the Anglers, I think. A couple more base hits out there. For you guys, what do you think's the key? Obviously, trying to get a win streak started. What's the biggest key to string wins together?
Yeah, it's just going out there and playing the same game. Just having fun. Just taking it one pitch at a time. That's all you can do. So.
Carter, thanks so much for the time. Best of luck out there today.
Thank you.
We'll send it back to Joe for the rest of the Anglers Extra pregame show.
Carter Trice having fun to start this Cape League season. He's 5 for 8 in his first 3 games with Chatham this summer. And today he gets the opportunity to add to that total, batting in the 5-hole for the Anglers, and he's Tom Holliday's designated hitter. We'll get to the entirety of Chatham's lineup and the pitching matchup coming up next on the Anglers Extra pregame show.
Anglers Extra. Chatham on TRC. Cape Cod.
Chatham A's baseball is on the air right now.
Swings and hits one to left center field. Back goes McFadden. He will not get there. It's a home run. A grand slam for Todd Frazier.
Chugging into second base with an RBI double is Evan Longoria. He is 4 for 4.
Hit on the ground, left side. Will it get through? Off Crawford and into center field. Federovic scores and Chatham wins it in 11. The game-winning hit from Seager. It's a 5-4 Chatham winner.
And now, with your play-by-play, Joe Puccio and Andrew Selover.
Just moments away from first pitch in Game 18 of the 2023 season, Chatham hosts Hyannis at Veterans Field. Andrew Selover with Joe Puccio to my left. in the broadcast booth high above Diamond Side, third baseline at Veterans Field. Tonight, Joe, we have one of the most unique uniform outfits for both teams. It's blue versus blue between the Anglers and the Harbor Hawks.
I'm sorry if you're colorblind, folks, because Chatham is wearing the blue with white pants, Hyannis with the blue shirts and gray pants, and as you've heard at the top of this broadcast, there is fog steaming in from behind home plate and left field. It's only going to make things more trickier.
Managers for both teams at home plate talking things over with the three umpires for tonight's contest. Eric Beatty managing an 8-8-1 Hyannis squad, and Tom Holliday in charge of a 5-11-1 Chatham team. The Anglers come in bottom record in the East Division, 3 points behind the Whitecaps for fourth place. Remember, 4 of the 5 teams from each side make the playoffs at the end of the 44-game slate. And Chatham has 1 extra game in hand right now over the Whitecaps, with the 2 squads set to face off at Brewster tomorrow evening. As for Hyannis, the Harbor Hawks come in just 1 point back of third place in fourth, 3 points ahead of Falmouth in fifth place in the West Division. Cotuit has bounced all over everybody to start the season, 5 points ahead of second best in the entire league. The Kettleers lead the West Division with 26 points. Both managers still talking things out at home plate with the umpires. That means we'll get to the Chatham Squire starting lineups, beginning with the visiting Hyannis Harbor Hawks. Leading things off for Hyannis, the designated hitter out of Western Illinois, Nick Mitchell. Batting second from Washington State, the shortstop Elijah Hainline. Cam Smith out of Florida State bats third and plays third base. The cleanup hitter out of Lipscomb, Austin Kelly, plays first base. In the 5-hole from Clemson, the center fielder Will Taylor. Batting sixth out of South Florida, the second baseman Eric Snow. In the 7-hole, Trey Lipsy, the left fielder out of Ohio State. Batting eighth from UC Santa Barbara, the catcher Aaron Parker. And Zach Earhart rounds out the starting 9 for the Harbor Hawks, the right fielder out of Oklahoma State. On the Chatham side, leading things off from Southern Miss, the center fielder Matthew Etzel. Derek Fabian out of Florida bats second and plays shortstop. In the 3-hole from Oklahoma State, Nolan Schubert plays left field. Batting cleanup out of Austin P, Lyle Miller Green plays right field. In the 5-hole, the designated hitter Carter Trice out of NC State. From Heartland Community College, Sam Antonacci bats sixth and plays second base. In the 7-hole out of Texas A&M, the first baseman Caden Kent. Xavier Casarilla from Seminole State Junior College bats eighth and plays third base. And rounding out the starting 9 for Tom Holliday and the Anglers, the catcher from Texas Tech, Hudson White. Just moments away from the national anthem here at Veterans Field. And now we send it over to the paragon of pronunciation and our public address announcer, Peter Burns, for that national anthem.
Please rise for tonight's national anthem. Welcome back to Shelley Sequin. Shelley, who is singing tonight's national anthem, and her family are longtime Chatham residents. In Shelley's free time, she enjoys volunteering for local charities, gardening, and singing. Shelley is a member of the Chatham Club, helping to beautify Chatham Town Gardens, and she also creates and maintains the planters at Chatham Paint and Hardware. With tonight's national anthem, Shelley Sequin.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched, valiantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Star-Spangled Banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Another great rendition of
The national anthem from Shelley Sequin, as heard live on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Welcome back into the broadcast booth. Andrew Selover with Joe Puccio to my left, just moments away from first pitch at Veterans Field between Hyannis and Chatham. The Anglers huddled up down the third baseline in front of their dugout, ready to take the diamond for the first time tonight. Chatham wears white pinstripe pants with a navy uniform. White script Chatham across the front with red numbers on the front and white numbers on the back. The blue caps with the red Anglers A for Chatham. As for Hyannis, blue jerseys as well. An orange script of Hyannis across the chest with orange numbers on the front for the Harbor Hawks and on the back as well. Gray pants for Hyannis. Blue caps with the orange H for the Harbor Hawks. Chatham takes the field for the first time tonight, led by Jack Sokol, the right-handed starter out of pit on the bump for the Anglers. The pitching matchup tonight presented by the Red Nun Bar and Grill. On the Hyannis side, a righty out of LA Tech, Ethan Bates, will take the mound in the bottom of the first. But for more on the starter Jack Sokol for Chatham, here is Joe Puccio.
Well, Andrew, Jack Sokol is in his second appearance of the summer. His first appearance was out of the bullpen on June 24th against Falmouth. Sokol pitched 4 innings, gave up 2 hits and a run, with 9 strikeouts and 2 walks. Bullpen coach Brock Riley said before the game that he's still trying to understand who Jack Sokol is as a person, let alone a pitcher. So this is an opportunity for Jack Sokol to prove himself at Veterans Field for this coaching staff.
He tries to do so against the starting lineup, and the first 3 headed to the plate for Hyannis in the top of the first. Mitchell, Hainline, and Smith, and running through the rest of the lineup once more for the Harbor Hawks, Kelly, Taylor, Snow, Lipsy, Parker, and Earhard, the starting 9 for manager Eric Beatty. A light fog has been in and out pregame at Veterans Field. The umpires, well, they'll have the official decision tonight on that fog. We had one delay last night. Fred DeJesus behind the plate, Warren Nicholson at first base, and John Lamatina over at third. Those are your umpires presented by the Audio Associates. Nick Mitchell, a left-handed hitting designated hitter out of Western Illinois, faces Jack Sokol, the right-handed starter out of Pittsburgh. First pitch. On the outside corner, strike 1. 7:03. First pitch time and temperature at 68 degrees, presented by the Chatham Athletic Association. Sokol out of the windup, the 0-1. Grounded down the third base line. Fair ball past Casarilla. It rolls all the way into Chatham's bullpen. Schubert has to find it, and he has to put the hands up for a ground rule double. It rolled out of play past Chatham's bullpen. If not, it could have been a leadoff triple for Nick Mitchell on the second pitch he saw. Instead, he heads back to second base with a leadoff 2-bagger for Hyannis in the top of the first. Elijah Hainline steps in from the right side. The shortstop waves a wood bat behind his head. The first pitch, right down the middle, fastball for strike 1. Sokol, a fastball, slider, and changeup mix. The junior out of Pittsburgh stands at 6'4", 210 pounds. From the stretch, 0-1. Slider on the outside corner, quickly 0-2. Hainline out of Washington State. Crouches down in the right-hand batter's box. He stares out to Sokol and readies for the 0-2. Flicked foul back to the netting. A fastball in on the hands. Hainline stays alive. Hainline comes into the night batting just .091 in 11 at-bats with just one hit. 0-2. Slider in the dirt, stopped by Hudson White. He runs out to the lip of the grass in front of home plate to pick it up and throw back to his starting pitcher, Jack Sokol. Nick Mitchell stands on second and takes a 4-step lead for Hyannis. He led off the top of the first with a double. There's no outs in a scoreless game, Chatham and Hyannis. The 1-2. Slider outside, 2-2 the count. Last night, Chatham jumped out to a 5-0 advantage over Harwich. Tom Holliday talked after the game about how nice it was to be playing from in front. Jack Sokol's 2-2. Just misses the inside corner. The count is full to Elijah Hainline. Sokol trying to hang a 0. He would love to bring the Chatham top of the order to the plate in the bottom of the first. 3-2. Chopper up the middle. Antonacci ranges to the right. He throws weakly over to first in time to retire Hainline. That advances the runner Mitchell over to third base. There's one out for Cam Smith.
Sokol is predominantly using the off-speed pitches to start this game.
Now he faces another right-hander, Cam Smith, at 6'3" out of Florida State. A right-on-right matchup from the stretch. Sokol kicks and deals. At the knees, strike one. That time the fastball at 89 miles per hour. 10th pitch of the top of the first inning. Hyannis enters tonight at 8-8-1. Chatham 5-11-1. 0-1 pitch. Grounded through the right side, base hit. Mitchell comes home to score the first run of the game. Cam Smith rounds first with an RBI base hit. Hyannis leads Chatham 1-0 in the top of the first. Smith found the hole going opposite field on the ground. He takes a lead off first. In steps Austin Kelly. Kelly takes upstairs for ball one. The first baseman out of Lipscomb batting in the cleanup hole tonight. Stares at Sokol, 1-0. Comes in and flicks off his right kneecap. A hit by pitch to Austin Kelly, who tosses his guards down just outside of the batter's circle and trots on down to first. The 3 of the first 4 reach for Hyannis in the top of the first. Cam Smith now stands at second. Austin Kelly at first. Will Taylor, the center fielder out of Clemson, bats from the right side. Sokol looks back and fires. Flicked foul to the netting, 0-1. For Jack Sokol, this is his first start in 2023 with Chatham. Only other appearance, Joe, came out of the bullpen against Falmouth. 0-1. Breaking ball in the dirt. Skips off the chest protector of White, up off the bat of Will Taylor, and right in front of the plate. Neither runner advances.
After yesterday's win against Harwich, Tom Holliday said that one of the main positives was that his team didn't get behind early. Right now, trailing 1-0 with runners on first and second, one out in the first.
Harbor Hawks threatening, 1-1. At the knees, fastball for strike 2. And the biggest problem in Chatham's 4-game losing streak was giving up big numbers. Sokol trying to keep it to just a single digit here in the first for Hyannis. His 1-2. Flicked foul to the netting. We'll do it again. Will Taylor stares down his black-dipped wood bat and waves it 3 times through the right-hand batter's box. His orange batting gloves behind his ear. Readies for a 1-2. Grounded down the third baseline, foul ball. Casarilla ran over 5 steps to his right, but let that one roll down towards Chatham's bullpen. Kyson Donahue out of the dugout to run down the line and retrieve it. A light fog covering Veterans Field. Still visible to all parts. 1-2. Poked foul off the front foot of Taylor. The next pitch will be 20 for Jack Sokol in the first. Still just one man retired. Will Taylor enters today batting 176 with Hyannis. Sokol entered with just 1 earned run allowed. He's surrendered 1 already in the top of the first. 2 on, 1 out. Another 1-2. Just misses upstairs. Ball 2. 90-mile-per-hour fastball right through the letters across the front of the jersey for Taylor, reading Hyannis in orange script. Wind blowing slightly out to center. The 2-2. Slider in the dirt. Taylor lays off. Another full count for Jack Sokol on the right side of the bump.
Sokol's unsuccessful in using the slider as that strikeout pitch. Let's see if he changes it.
He stares in for the sign from White. Holds the ball in his right hand. Now he fires. Tipped foul to the backstop. Still 3-2 the count.
And that time the fastball was at 90 miles an hour.
Has not figured out the put-away pitch yet. Looking for it here in a deep battle with Will Taylor. Out of the stretch, the payoff. At the knees, strike 3 looking. Taylor heads back to the first base dugout with the bat in his right hand. There's 2 down with 2 on and a run in the top of the first for Hyannis. Eric Snow now steps in from the right side.
Sokol's fastball might have fooled Will Taylor. As we talked about during that at bat, Sokol uses the slider outside to try and strike out the hitters.
First pitch, swing and a miss. Blows the fastball right by the South Florida product. 90 miles per hour out of the right hand of Pittsburgh's Jack Sokol. The 0-1. Flicked foul to the backstop. 0-2. Sokol 1 strike away of limiting Hyannis' threat to just 1 run in the top of the first. 1-0 Harbor Hawks. 0-2 the count. The pitch just misses the outside corner. Another fastball. 1-2 the count.
Sokol already up to 26 pitches here in the first inning.
He bends over at the waist, receives the sign. He looks back to second. Now the righty pitches, and he slides a slider in the dirt. No offering from Eric Snow. 2-2. Hudson White readjusts his black shin guards. Now he crouches down behind home plate, wearing his Texas Tech red and black mask. He crouches the pitch. Swing and a miss, strike 3. White flips the ball back out towards the pitcher's mound. He and his battery partner, Jack Sokol, escape a jam in the top of the first and limit Hyannis to just 1 run. 2 hits, no errors, and 2 men left on base for the Harbor Hawks in the top of the first. Nick Mitchell comes around to score after leading things off with a double. But after that, it's Smith and Kelly stranded on base. Hyannis 1 and Chatham coming to bat in the bottom of the first. You're listening to Chatham Anglers Baseball on the Cape Cod Baseball Network.
Sports Radio, play-by-play. Go A's! Chatham on TRC.
Ethan Bates on the bump for Hyannis to lead off the bottom of the first. The righty pitcher out of Louisiana Tech faces off against Matt Etzel, Derek Fabian, and Nolan Schubert for Chatham. Etzel stands in from the left side. Bates kicks and fires. First pitch misses outside, ball one. Bates an identical arsenal to Jack Sokol, the starter for Chatham. A fastball, a slider, and a changeup. The righty's 1-0. Fastball misses outside, 2-0 the count. Bates stands at 5'11". Works out of the windup against the 6'2" Etzel. 2-0 pitch. That time the fastball pumps the mitt at 87 miles per hour for strike one. Etzel trying to lead things off for Chatham. The 2-1 pitch. Misses outside, 3-1 the count. The Anglers struck for 8 runs in a 7-run victory last night over Harwich. Etzel a big part of it. A 2-for-4 night with an RBI. The 3-1. Etzel golfs it towards left field. Drifting to his right, Ripsey. He comes in and squeezes it for out number 1. Matthew Etzel flies out to left field to lead off the bottom of the first. That brings up Derek Fabian.
Tom Holliday called Matthew Etzel a grown man before today's game. Earlier in the season, he said that he's looked for men to swing the bat, just guys that go up with the right mental attitude.
Now it's Fabian, first pitch. Checks his swing and lays off a fastball on the outside corner, or off the outside corner, ball one. Fabian had himself a great night as well, a 3-for-5 effort last night. 1-0. Fabian takes all the way, strike one. The 1-1. Grounded back up the middle, straight on 4 hops to Snow at second. He fires to first in time to erase a hustling Fabian for out number 2. Two up, 2 down to start the bottom of the first for Ethan Bates. That brings up Nolan Schubert. Bates so far this summer has tossed in 2 contests, 6 total innings with Hyannis. The most recent came against Wareham 6 days ago. He surrendered 2 runs on 4 hits in 3 1/3. First pitch, Schubert takes a slider on the outside corner, strike one. Oh-1, cut on and missed. 0-2 quickly on Chatham's left fielder. Schubert readjusts the batting gloves outside of the left-hand batter's box and steps back in. Bates trying for a quick 1-2-3 inning. He winds and he fires. And he misses outside, 1-2. Ethan Bates, an interesting alignment on the mound. He'll point his front left foot towards home, then point it over to third base. Then he lifts and he pitches. He misses outside once more, 2-2 the count.
And even though he's the starting pitcher, Bates has only thrown out of the stretch.
Almost an abbreviated windup as he points his front foot forward, then to the left. Now he pitches again, and Schubert skies it shallow towards left center. Coming in the center fielder, Taylor, on the run. He has it for out number 3. The Anglers go in order in the bottom of the first. Matthew Etzel flies out, Derek Fabian grounds out, and Schubert flies out to center field. Chatham behind Hyannis 1-0 through 1 at Veterans Field on the Cape Cod Baseball Network.
Chatham on TRC, Cape Cod.
Sweet Tomatoes Pizza, located right around the corner from Veterans Field at 790 Main Street in Chatham. Pick up a pie on your way to the game or grab a calzone before first pitch. The dough for their specialty pizza is rolled right before your eyes. Eat in or take out, 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. and sometimes later. Call 508-348-0200. See their full menu online at sweettomatoscapecod.com. Sweet Tomatoes, a Chatham pregame tradition.
Well, I came by your house the other day. Your mother said you went away. She said there was nothing that I could have done. There was nothing nobody could say. Now me and you, we've known each other, yeah, ever since we were 16. I wished I would have known. I wished I could have called you just to say goodbye, Bobby G.
Bottom of the lineup due up for Hyannis in the top of the second. 7, 8, and 9, beginning with Trey Lipsy against Jack Sokol in his second inning of work. Andrew Selover with Joe Puccio on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Thanks for joining us tonight on the first night of July. A foggy night at Veterans Field. Sokol against Lipsy. The first pitch. Hammered towards center field. Etzel races back to his right. He's on the track, short of the fence, and he has it for out number 1. Trey Lipsy hit it towards basically the deepest part of the ballpark, and Veterans Field was just deep enough to hold that one for out number 1. That brings up Aaron Parker, the catcher out of UC Santa Barbara. Another right-handed hitter against the righty Sokol. Out of the windup, here it comes. Sokol misses up and in. Sokol with a light tan glove to his face, turns and fires. Check swing on a slider that misses down. No appeal from the Anglers. 2-0 the count. Parker waddles around in the right-hand batter's box. Now he comes set. The 2-0. Swing and a miss. Parker chased an elevated fastball for strike 1. Aaron Parker in search of his first hit with the Harbor Hawks. The 2-1. Skips in the dirt, away from White, back towards the third base dugout where Marty Lees is out to grab it for Chatham. 3-1 the count. Parker has 10 at-bats and no hits so far on the summer. Ahead in the count, 3-1. The pitch. At the knee, strike 2. Fastest heater out of the hand of the righty Jack Sokol so far at 92 miles per hour. Next pitch is number 35. He turns and he guns it home. He misses below the zone for ball 4. Aaron Parker walks with 1 out. That brings up Zach Earhart in the 9-hole.
Sokol's last pitch was another 92-mile-an-hour fastball. At the start of the first inning, Sokol primarily used the slider as his strikeout pitch. But since recording 2 strikeouts in the first and attempting to strike out Parker, he's used the fastball as his strikeout pitch.
First pitch, skied, tailing down the right field line. It lands to the right of the fence in the trees for a free souvenir. Zach Earhart, the right fielder out of Oklahoma State, playing with some of his collegiate teammates, playing against some of his collegiate teammates tonight, I should say. Nolan Schubert out in left field. 0-1. Just misses upstairs. 1-1 the count. Xavier Casarilla over at third base will be transferring to Oklahoma State as well. Earhart in the 9-hole tonight for Eric Beatty and the Harbor Hawks. He awaits a 1-1 from Sokol. And he bends out of the way of an inside fastball. 2-1 the count. Earhart led the Cowboys this year with 11 stolen bases, hitting .239 with Oklahoma State. 2-1. Squares and pulls back. A slider misses outside. 3-1. The sophomore was drafted in 2021 out of high school by the Boston Red Sox in the 13th round. Turned down the money to go to Stillwater. 3-1. Skied into shallow center field. Antonacci climbs back from second. He gives way to Etzel, who runs in and grabs it for out number 2. Two flyouts to center field surround a one-out walk to Aaron Parker in the top of the second. Hyannis in front of Chatham 1-0 just underway from Veterans Field. The lineup flips over. Second time through now for Jack Sokol facing Nick Mitchell, who doubled to start the game. The left-handed DH scored the only run thus far. First pitch. Fastball on the inside corner, strike 1. Joe Sokol seems much more under control in the second.
Well, that's because of the fastball he's using.
0-1. There is the fastball again. It misses inside, 1-1.
We can only assume that that fastball is giving Sokol confidence, because in the first inning it sat in the 89 to 90 range. But here in the second inning, we've seen the fastball climb up to 92.
Sokol looks to first. Now from the stretch, the 1-1. Fastball rises upstairs at 88 miles per hour. 2-1 the count. Plenty of fans line the center field hill at Veterans Field along Depot Road. They can see the action at the plate as of right now, as opposed to last night in the fog. 2-1. Flipped back over the netting, out of play. 2-2 the count. Most of the fans out on the hill to start yesterday's contest either migrated back behind the plate or went home because thick fog covering the outfield prevented their visibility of the action. The 2-2. Hit a mile in the air deep towards right field. Miller Green drifts back. He camps under it, and he squeezes it for out number 3. 3 flyouts to the outfield off of Hyannis bats in the second inning. On just no hits and 1 man left on base, it stays 1-0 Harbor Hawks halfway through 2 on the Cape Cod Baseball Network.
Chatham on TRC, Cape Cod. Town, and I live in a small town. Paradise, small town, oh, small communities. All my friends are from small town. My parents live in the same small town. My job is a small town, provides little opportunity. Educated in a small town, taught to fear Jesus in a small town. Used to daydream in that small town. Another boring romantic, that's me. But I've seen it all in a small town. Had myself a ball in a small town. Married an LA down about to this.
Bottom of the second for Chatham begins with the cleanup hitter Lyle Miller Green, who bats from the right side. Anglers trailing Harbor Hawks 1-0 halfway through the second on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Thanks for joining us. Andrew Selover with Joe Puccio. Ethan Bates ready. He fires. And he misses inside for ball 1 to Miller Green. Miller Green, weight on the back foot, 1-0. Swing and a miss. Transferred that weight right through in front of an 82-mile-per-hour slider, 1-1 the count. The junior out of Austin Peay awaits a 1-1. And he takes in the dirt, 2-1 the count. Third summer in Chatham for Lyle Miller Green. Off to a 9-for-35 start with 2 home runs. The 2-1. Flared back behind home plate. It tails over the fence Another free souvenir as 20 kids mob for it on the grass. A vibrant crowd tonight at Veterans Field, circulating behind the home plate area.
4th of July crowd's coming in.
That's right. 2-2. Just missed the outside corner. Count run full to Lyle Miller Green to lead off the bottom of the second. Fireworks tomorrow night at Veterans Field around 8:45 p.m. Anglers at Brewster at 5 p.m. The 3-2. Misses inside, a leadoff walk for Miller Green to lead off the bottom of the second. He's aboard for Carter Trice, the NC State designated hitter. Arguably had the best night among any Anglers hitters in the 8-1 victory a night ago. A game Chatham had 15 hits. Trice had 4 of them. First base runner of the day for Chatham. First pitch to Trice. On the inside corner. Fastball for strike 1. Trice had 1 double to go with 3 singles for his 4 hits. Awaits the 0-1. Swing and a miss. Healthy hack at a changeup. Quickly 0-2.
You could see Trice fall back to his heels after that swing.
2 RBIs as well last night for Trice, trying to start the rally in the second for Chatham. 0-2 pitch. Poked foul at the plate. It bounces back towards the backstop. Trice circles the entire batting circle, walks through the left-hand batter's box behind the catcher Parker and home plate umpire Fred DeJesus, and now he steps back into the back right corner of the right-hand batter's box. Waves the bat out towards the pitcher Bates. Another 0-2. Just missed the inside corner. 1-2 the count. Chatham snapped a 4-game losing streak last night with a win. Hyannis enters tonight losers of 2 straight. 1-2. Slider outside. 2-2 the count. Harbor Hawks were victim of a walk-off victory for Bourne last night on a walk-off walk in the 9th. The 2-2 just misses inside again, almost the identical pitch as the 1-2 offering. Now another full count, this time to Carter Trice. Chatham in danger of putting the first 2 on to lead off the second, threatening for offense. 3-2. Outside, ball 4. Ethan Bates looks over to his first base dugout in frustration, painting the black of the corners with fastballs in the AB with Trice. He just couldn't locate one on the outside corner of the zone. The first 2 walk for Chatham in the second. That brings up Sam Antonacci. Very patient at bats back-to-back, Joe.
Well, Tom Holliday said after the Bourne game that you can't beat anybody by walking.
Chatham trying to do that. Bunt laid down right in front of home plate. Quickly, the catcher Parker out to field. He throws to first in time to retire Antonacci. Chatham goes for small ball in the second and moves 2 runners into scoring position with 1 out for Caden Kent.
Tom Holliday was talking about the pitching side of things, that if you walk 10 people, you're not going to win the game. Now, Hyannis has only walked 2 batters so far, but as you can tell right now, Chatham has runners on second and third with a serious chance of tying this game.
Kent bats from the left side against the righty Bates. First pitch. Just misses outside. 1-0 the count. Tom Holliday said he saw Caden Kent rip through 2 balls through the right side last night, that he hasn't seen him pull the ball in 2 weeks. 1-0. Lifted towards shallow left field, dropping quickly. Hainline races out. It falls past his outstretched glove. The runners had to hold up at first. Miller Green runs home to score. It's an RBI bloop single for Caden Kent, and Chatham equalizes 1-1 in the second.
Kent didn't pull that baseball.
That's for sure.
But he still found the outfield grass. And more importantly for Chatham fans, he brings home the first run.
Carter Trice advances to third on the single. There's runners at the corners for Xavier Casarilla. Infield in at the corners, double play depth up the middle. Right on right, first pitch. Finds the middle of the zone with a slider, 0-1. Fog starting to funnel in a little bit. Visibility dropping slightly in the outfield, especially in right field for Earhart. 0-1. Misses inside, just over the back foot of Casarilla with another slider. 1-1 the count. 1-1 Chatham and Hyannis tied in the bottom of the second. Runners at the corners, one down. The 1-1, swing and a miss. Casarilla looked foolish out in front of the slider, nearly lost his helmet. He's now behind in the count 1-2. Bates gets the sign. He crouches down. He nods yes. Now he turns and fires. Swing and a miss. Went back to the slider, and Casarilla flipped his bat right through the zone, did not make contact, and he's sent down as out number 2 in the second.
Casarilla was fooled on 2 straight pitches.
That brings up Hudson White in the 9-hole. First pitch to the catcher. On the outside corner, another slider out of the hands of Ethan Bates for strike 1. Bates dangles his right arm out of his blue sleeve. Now he comes set at the waist. He lifts and he fires, and he misses in the dirt. 1-1 the count. Chatham searching for its first lead of tonight's contest. 1-1 Chatham and Hyannis in the second with runners at the corners and 2 outs. 1-1 pitch. Misses low. White holds up. 2-1 the count. White picked up his third base hit in an Anglers uniform last night with a double, a 1-for-4 night. The 2-1. Golf deep down the left field line towards the foul pole. Is it fair? It is! A 3-run blast off the bat of Hudson White, and Chatham explodes to a 4-1 lead in the second. White gets a pat on the back from Marty Lees. He scampers towards home plate and helmet taps with his teammates, Trice and Kent, as he walks back to the Chatham dugout. The Anglers lead it by 3.
Hudson White came into today with 0 home runs and 3 RBIs. 1 swing, and he has tied the team lead with 6 RBIs.
He hammered it down the left field line. Only question, was it fair? It was. First pitch to Edsel. Misses outside. 1-0 the count. The 1-0. Lifted towards left center field. Taylor has a beat on it, and he has it for out number 3. That puts an end to Chatham scoring, but for the second straight night, the Anglers explode for a big number early on. Chatham puts up a 4 spot, thanks in large part to Hudson White's 3-run home run, and Chatham's out in front of Hyannis 4-1 through 2 at Veterans Field.
Chatham A's on the air.
All it takes is for the fog to emerge at Veterans Field, and Chatham finds its offense. Last night, we had one fog delay, and the Anglers scored 8 runs for the first time since opening night at Veterans Field. And tonight, Chatham is struck for a crooked number, a 4 spot in the second as the fog rolls in. Sokol back on the bump. First pitch, line the other way, tailing away from Miller Green. He watches it fall in front of him for a leadoff single off the bat of Elijah Hainline to start the top of the third. Last night, it was the top of the third inning when Harwich and Chatham were placed into a fog delay, and once again, it's the top of the third inning where the fog begins to thicken in Chatham, Massachusetts. Cam Smith stands in, first pitch, runner goes and stops, pickoff throw back to first, tag applied is late. Hainline was intent on trying to steal second on the first pitch to Cam Smith. Then he stumbled, so he retreated back to the bag, and Hudson White's pickoff throw back behind him was not in time. 1-0 the count. Sokol throws back to first, close play. Hainline back safely. Chatham scored its 4 runs in the bottom of the second on just 2 hits. The 2 walks came back to cost Bates. 1-0, lifted out of play. First base side over towards the practice field.
Looks like there's an intense game of wiffle ball going
There
on.
is. I'm not sure they realize, but there's about 10 younger kids hopping the center field fence to come retrieve the foul ball, impeding on the wiffle ball game. Pickoff throw to first, again, not in time. Warren Nicholson at first put his hand to his left ear and then decided to wave safe about 5 seconds after the play.
It looks like Hainline is a half step slow every time a throw over comes.
Another throw over. That time he had not fully established his lead, so he was quickly back to the bag. Didn't even need to dive to put more dirt on his blue Hyannis jersey. 1-1 home. Hammered down the right field line, again flaring away from Miller Green. It bounces up against the fence. Hainline rounds second. He gets a stop sign at third. Cam Smith cruises into second with a double, and the first 2 reach in the top of the third for Hyannis.
First baseman, number 30, Austin Kelly.
Harbor Hawks threatening to take back at least 2 of the runs that they surrendered in the bottom of the second, Joe.
And those are 2 hard hit balls down to the right field corner. Lyle Miller Green had no chance at catching either of those baseballs.
Austin Kelly stands in. First pitch. Misses outside. 1-0 the count. That brings Hudson White quickly out to the base of the pitcher's mound to talk things over with his starting pitcher, Jack Sokol. Both have their gloves covering their mouths, deep in conversation. 4-1 Chatham in front of Hyannis. The Harbor Hawks opened the scoring in the first inning. Then Chatham struck for 4 in the bottom of the second. 3 came off a Hudson White 3-run home run down the left field line. White now retreats back behind home plate and bends into his crouch right in front of home plate umpire Fred DeJesus. He signals play ball to Jack Sokol. Out of the stretch. He fires. Lifted the other way, back towards left field. Schubert in 2 steps. Hainline tags. The throw is cut off by Casarilla. It's a sac fly from Austin Kelly that scores Elijah Hainline. Chatham's lead is reduced to 4-2 in the third.
Sokol's given up 3 hard hit baseballs to the outfield to start this third inning.
That one results in the first out of the top of the third. It also scores the first run of the inning. That brings up Will Taylor. First pitch. Flipped over the netting. Back towards the restrooms behind the bleachers. 0-1 the count. Matt Etzel and Lyle Miller Green starting to dip in visibility from our site. back in the outfield due to fog. 0-1. Rises upstairs. 1-1 the count. Will Taylor, the center fielder out of Clemson, 0 for 1 tonight. He struck out looking back in the first. A right-on-right matchup with Jack Sokol. The 1-1. Tipped foul back over the netting. 1-2 the count. A couple fastballs that have found the barrel or the lower barrel of the bat. Taylor has popped both of them foul. Behind in the count 1-2. Taylor looks on. Here comes the pitch. Grounded back up the middle. Antonacci on a backhand. It flicks off his heel of his glove. He has no play. Antonacci went for the backhand on the edge of the outfield grass. He took a nasty hop that came off his wrist. It's ruled an error on Sam Antonacci. First error of the night from either squad. That puts runners at the corners. That brings up Eric Snow with 1 out. Sokol offers. Fastball misses outside. Tying run at first base for Hyannis. 1-0. Poked foul back to the netting. 1-1 the count. Eric Snow, the second strikeout victim of the night from Jack Sokol. That ended the first inning and stranded 2 on the base paths. Sokol in search of either a strikeout or maybe a double play ball. Infield at double play depth. Pickoff throw to first nearly got away from Kent. He reached and backhanded the ball as he reached across the body of the base runner, Will Taylor. A snap throw that nearly squeaked down the right field line. That would have easily scored Cam Smith, who was itching to take off from third. The 1-1. Slider just misses below the knees. 2-1 the count.
You have to think that Taylor over at first might be trying to fish for a throw from Hudson White. With the runner at third base, could be some mind games from Eric Beatty.
2-1. Grounded sharply through the right side, base hit. Smith scores from third. Taylor held up at second base. Eric Snow picks up an RBI with a single. It's now 4-3 Chatham in the third. Still just one man out. Tom Holliday talked pregame about how getting a lead helps his pitchers throw with confidence. Sokol struggling, though, here in the third. First pitch, Trey Lipsy squares and pulls back. A changeup low for ball 1. Lipsy steps back in from the left side against the righty Sokol. Time called. Hudson White stopped the play, and he walks 5 steps in front of home plate, lifts up his red and black mask, and says something to his starter Sokol before walking back behind the plate. Lipsy back into the batter's box. Sokol comes set. The 1-0. Misses inside, 2-0 the count. 60 pitches already for Jack Sokol, just 1 out in the third inning. Chatham in front of Hyannis 4-3. The Harbor Hawks have 2 on and a 2-0 count with 1 down to Lipsy, though. The pitch, right down the middle, strike 1.
You wonder what Hudson White said to Sokol just a few moments ago. Didn't relay any signs, just stepped in front of home plate and said something to Chatham starter.
From the stretch, the 2-1. Slider on the inside corner, 2-2 the count. Jack Sokol had a far easier time going through Falmouth's lineup through 4 innings a week ago, struggling tonight against Hyannis. 2-2, fisted back up the middle in the air. Sokol grabs it out of the air for out number 2. both runners quickly retreat to the bags. A bloop pop-up back to the pitcher's mound. Trey Lipsy is retired for out number 2. That brings up Aaron Parker.
Sokol shied away from the baseball, then realized that the ball was coming right at him at the mound.
I don't think he realized at first how weakly that one was hitting the air. First pitch, check swing. Aaron Parker saw it off almost, didn't make contact, and he swung through the zone 0-1. An abbreviated follow-through. He wanted to lay off the high fastball, but could not. 0-1. At the knees, strike 2. With runners at first and second base for Hyannis in the top of the third, Jack Sokol trying to preserve a 1-run lead for the Anglers. 0-2 the count. Out of the stretch, the pitch. Flipped over the netting, foul. It stays 0-2. Sokol retoes the right side of the rubber. He wins in for another sign. He comes set at the chest, looks back to second and offers. Grounder to the left side. 2 hops to Fabian at short. He goes to second and retires the side on a fielder's choice that sends down Eric Snow. Hyannis claws right back after Chatham struck for 4 in the second. The Harbor Hawks get 2 in the third. It's 4-3 Chatham halfway through 3.
Chatham A's on the air. Long as I remember, rain been coming down, clouds of mist drift pouring, confusion on the ground. Could miss through the ages, trying to find the sun. And I wonder, still I wonder, who'll stop the rain. I went down Virginia, seeking shelter from the storm.
Bottom of the third, Chatham in front of Hyannis, 4-3 in the second matchup of 4 between these two squads in 2023, at least in the regular season. Andrew Selover with Joe Puccio on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Joe, the first matchup between these two was at Hyannis, and the Harbor Hawks jumped all over the starter Trey Gibson that day, out in front of Chatham 6-0, and the Anglers never could come back. Today, though, it's Chatham that struck for the big number early.
Right, Chatham had 3 runs on 5 hits in the second game of the season at McKeon Park. Today, the Anglers with 4 runs on 2 hits. One of those hits highlighted by a Hudson White 3-run homer.
For Chatham in the bottom of the third, it's 2, 3, and 4 due up, beginning with Derek Fabian. Fabian using his 3rd different bat in 2 days. First pitch, swing and a miss. Yesterday, Fabian began his debut with a wood bat, the barrel dipped pink. He then proceeded to break that bat on his second at bat on a broken bat single. 0-1. Tipped foul into the dirt. 0-2. He came out with a wood bat dipped in blue on the barrel, and now he's in a straight wood bat with a black dipped handle. 0-2 pitch. Fabian fouls it off. Another free souvenir for the numerous kids here at Veterans Field tonight. Still 0-2 to Derek Fabian to lead off the bottom of the third. Bates fires and misses below the zone. Fabian 0 for 1. He grounded out back in the first. Stares down Bates. The 1-2. Spoiled foul over the first base dugout and out of play. That's another one that lands on the outfield grass of the practice field, although we have to report the wiffle ball game that was going on over earlier. That one's concluded.
Wonder what the score was.
1-2. Fabian checks his swing on a ball inside. He lays off. It's 2-2. Maybe they figured out that Chatham was playing once there was a stampede onto their center field grass for a free souvenir. 2-2 pitch. Skied, foul territory to the right of the plate. And it lands on top of the Hyannis dugout, foul. Kelly and Parker both gave chase but ran out of room. Fabian has now spoiled a number of pitches from the starter Ethan Bates to start the bottom of the third.
There's two kids on top of the dugout.
Trying to get that souvenir, and instead they have to whack it back into the dugout. Will the Harbor Hawks toss it over the net for him? They're going to get it to him somehow.
Oh, there we go.
Back to action, the 2-2. Check swing, it skips out of the mitt of Parker back to the backstop. No offering from Fabian. He works back from 0-2 all the way to a full count. Actually, it was foul tipped off the end of the bat from Fabian. So it's 2-2 again. Grounded down the third baseline, foul. A long battle between Bates and Fabian to lead off the bottom of the third. Still nobody out and nobody on. Chatham in front of Hyannis 4-3. Another 2-2. Swing and a miss. Bates finally wins the battle and sends down Fabian on strikes for out number one in the bottom of the third. Second strikeout of the day for the right-handed starter for Hyannis. Now he faces Nolan Schubert from the left side. Schubert takes his time walking into the left-hand batter's box, taps both his feet with his bat, now draws on the ground and steps in. First pitch home, just misses outside ball one. With Louisiana Tech this season, Bates played both ways, both on the mound and in the field. Hit .281, pitched to a .361 ERA. He misses in the dirt with the slider, 2-0. Had a 4-2 record in 20 appearances, all out of the bullpen. From the stretch, the 2-0. Right down the middle with the changeup, 2-1 the count. Last night we saw a Chatham player go both ways, Carson Benj. 2-1. Flare deep towards left center field. Long run for Taylor to the track. He drifts to the wall. He leaps, and he makes the catch, colliding into the fence. Schubert hammered it about 5 feet short of exiting the park, but Taylor made a running and leaping catch for out number two. He takes away extra bases from Chatham's left fielder. There's 2 out for Lyle Miller-Green. First pitch from Bates. Poked foul on a check swing from Miller-Green. 0-1 the count. Carson Benj appeared out of the bullpen for the first time for Chatham last night in the 9th to shut down Harwich and end the contest. 0-1 from Bates. Misses outside. 1-1 the count.
Before the season, Hudson White made fun of Carson Benj for saying that Benj found more enjoyment in pitching than hitting. White said, if you can hit bombs, you enjoy hitting more.
1-1. On the outside corner, 1-2. Not sure which Bates prefers. He's also hitting .200 so far this summer at the plate with Hyannis. Not hitting for himself tonight. He has a DH. 1-2. Just missed outside at the knees. 2-2. A transfer from Arkansas, where he spent his freshman year back in 2021 with the Razorbacks. 2 outs, no on. The 2-2. Line the other way, tailing foul. About 5 feet over the head of Kelly at first. It sliced 10 feet to the right of the foul line. Still 2-2 the count for Miller Green. Chatham in front by 1, 4-3 bottom of the third. 2-2 the count. Bates fires. He misses outside with the slider. 3-2 the count. Neither pitcher tossing effectively. The next pitch is number 60. The payoff. Swing and a miss. Miller Green chased a changeup down and in for strike 3 and out number 3 in the third. The Anglers go in order. 1, 2, 3 in the bottom of the third inning. It begins with a Derek Fabian strikeout swinging on a long at-bat at the plate. Nolan Schubert then flew out to the fence where Taylor robbed him of extra bases in a colliding catch against the wall. And finally, Lyle Miller Green strikes out swinging on a full count changeup low and in. Chatham still leads it 4-3 through 3 at Veterans Field. You're listening to it on the Cape Cod Baseball Network.
Sports Radio, play-by-play. Go A's! Chatham on TRC.
What I want, you got, and it might be hard to handle, but like a flame that burns a candle, the candle feeds the flame. Yeah, what I got, full stock of thoughts and dreams that scatter, when you pull them all together, and how I can't explain. Oh yeah, well,
Top of the fourth at Veterans Field. Andrew Selover and Joe Puccio with you on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. And for play-by-play, here is Joe.
Andrew, great to be with you on this Saturday evening here in Cape Cod. Great to be with you as well on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Top of the fourth, Sokol's first pitch skips in the dirt for ball 1. Hyannis brings up batters 9, 1, and 2 in the top of the fourth, starting with the right-handed Zach Earhart. The right-handed Sokol works from the windup. His 1-0 is a fastball that misses below the knees. It's a ball and a strike. Earhart from Oklahoma State flied out to center field back in the second inning. He's got the bat over his right shoulder, awaits the 2-0. Fastball misses outside. Jack Sokol's thrown 3 straight balls. The 3-0, Earhart squares, but pulls back, and the pitch misses low for ball 4. Jack Sokol walks the first batter he faces on 4 pitches, and Chatham manager Tom Holliday has seen enough. He walks over the third baseline and points towards Chatham's bullpen, where Carlos Ray hustles out from left field. Well, it's been a quick start to the top of the fourth inning, but we've already got a Chatham bars in call to the bullpen. Chatham leads 4-3 over Hyannis in the top of the fourth inning. We'll preview Carlos Ray in this Chatham bars in call to the bullpen after this.
Chatham on TRC, Cape Cod.
Child, things are gonna get easier. Ooh, child, things will get brighter. Ooh, child, things are gonna get easier. Ooh, child, things will get brighter. Someday, yeah, we'll put it together and we'll get it undone. Someday when your head is much lighter. Beautiful sun. Someday when the world is much brighter. Ooh, child, things are gonna be easy. be brighter. Ooh, child, things are gonna be easier. Ooh, child, things will be brighter. Someday, put it together and we'll get it undone. Someday.
Carlos Ray takes the mound for Chatham with a runner on first and no outs in the top of the 4th inning. Carlos Ray, a left-handed pitcher who just wrapped up this spring with Nova Southeastern. Ray will attend Central Florida in the fall. His first pitch to Nick Mitchell is a fastball squared, popped up. It drifts out of play behind home plate. It's 0-1 to Hyannis' leadoff hitter. And a young fan gets a round of applause for making the catch on the popped-up bunt. Carlos Ray is in his 4th appearance of the summer. He's pitched 9 innings, given up 7 hits and 4 runs, 11 Ks, 8 walks. Ray throws over to first. The throw isn't in time to get Earhart. Ray comes in for Chatham starter Jack Sokol, who pitched 3 innings plus, gave up 5 hits and 3 runs. The runner on first base is his responsibility. 0-1 popped up. It's foul right in front of Hyannis' first base dugout. Nick Mitchell unsuccessful on 2 bunt attempts, and he's down 0-2. Mitchell swings from the left side. He's 1 for 2 today with a double and a run scored in the first. He flied out to right back in the second. The lefty Mitchell stands in against the lefty Ray with a runner on first and no outs. Chatham 4, Hyannis 3 in the top of the 4th inning. Ray, a deep breath. He kicks and deals. Popped up right over our heads. High above diamond side 3rd baseline. It's foul. The count remains at 0-2. Nick Mitchell coming into today was 1 for 11 in 3 games played. Looking for his first multi-hit game of the summer here. Ray snap throws to first. Kent scoops it up. Fielded it like a catcher, eating it into his chest. The count remains at 0-2 still as Ray battles with Mitchell. Ray stands on the 3rd base side of the rubber. Hands at the belt. He fires. Broken bat flare out to shallow left center. It drops for a base hit. Earhart rounds second but stays at the bag. Nick Mitchell gets himself a 2-strike single. Earhart moves into scoring position. The Harbor Hawks have runners on first and second with no outs. Here comes Elijah Hainline, a righty swinger against the left-handed Carlos Ray. Just like Mitchell, he came into today 1 for 11 in 3 games played. He squares, pops the first pitch foul to the backstop. It's 0-1. The only strikes Carlos Ray has thrown today have been bunted foul balls. He just came in to relieve Jack Sokol. Chatham's infield has corners in. The shortstop Fabian covers second base. Hainline squares, pulls back at the last second. The pitch misses outside. It's 1-1. Caden Kent over at first base, sprinted in. He stood about 7 feet away from Hainline, who squared to bunt. It's a ball and a strike. Hainline squares before Ray can pitch, and here it is. A fastball popped foul, back to the screen. Hainline falls down in the count, 1-2.
That's now 4 failed bunts from the last 2 batters for Hyannis, mostly because they're just dipping the barrel on the Carlos Ray fastball, and they'll dip it too low. Fastball rises off the top of the barrel and flicks back to the backstop.
Runners on first and second, no outs. Ray collects, looks to second twice and fires home. Heater misses outside. It's 2-2. Carlos Ray has a 3-pitch mix, a fastball, changeup, and slider. His fastball sits in the low 90s. He peers into Hudson White for the sign. What does he go with here on the 2-2? It's a fastball that misses high. The count runs full on Hainline, who's 1 for 2 today with a single and a run scored in the 3rd. Earhart on second. Mitchell at first with no outs. Chatham leads 4-3. Ray glances towards second. Delivers home. Fastball misses inside for ball 4. At one point, Hainline was down 1-2 in the count. He works himself a walk, and the bases are loaded with no outs for Cameron Smith.
And you can say all you want, Joe, about back-to-back batters not laying the bunt down fair, but it's resulted in no outs and 2 base runners so far for Hyannis.
Ray's first pitch is cut on and missed. The right-handed Smith away late on the 92-mile-an-hour fastball. It's 0-1. Well, if you're Chatham, you're looking at Hyannis' lineup, and this is the one name you don't want to see. Smith, a .267 hitter, takes a high fastball, 1-1. Smith comes into this game with 2 home runs and 4 RBIs, the most of any Harbor Hawk in the lineup. Smith is 2 for 2 today with a double and a run scored in the 3rd. 1-1. Fastball called strike at the knees. Mitchell watched it go right by. It's a ball and 2 strikes. Cameron Smith, a right-handed hitter against the left-handed Carlos Ray. Ray shakes off the first sign from his catcher, White. Stands on the third base side of the rubber, still has his glove to his face. Now collects at the belt. 1-2. Fastball misses inside for ball 2. The ball squirted out of Hudson White's glove, but he corralled it right behind Smith and gave the baseball back to Ray. 2 balls and 2 strikes. The fans sitting behind home plate intently stare at the battle between Ray and Smith. If Smith can find the outfield, he could give Hyannis the lead. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Pitch. Chopper down the left field line. It's a foul ball. That ball was inches away from being fair. Hyannis manager Eric Beatty, who's patrolling third base, gave the wave to Earhart and Mitchell, but unfortunately for Hyannis fans, that ball was just foul. So Cameron Smith digs back into the right-handed batter's box. He has to fight 2-2 once again. Infield, outfield, straight away, with the wind blowing out towards deep center field. Ray, a deep breath, 2-2. Changeup misses inside, and the count runs full. Ray is in danger of walking home the tying run. The base is loaded, no outs in the top of the 4th inning. Chatham leads 4-3. Ray hands at his chest, stares at home, kicks and fires. A fastball's popped up, it drifts out of play behind home plate. The count remains full at 3-2. Cameron Smith, the third baseman out of Florida State, has the chance to bring home the tying and go-ahead run. Bat near his right shoulder. Ray, the pitcher, deals 3-2. Another foul ball. Hudson White gives it chase, but that ball is way out over Hyannis' first base dugout. Carlos Ray is up to 18 pitches, and he's only faced 2 batters. Smith being the third. Smith sets his feet back in the right-handed batter's box. His right foot on the back chalk. Bat rests on his right shoulder as he looks into Carlos Ray. 3-2. Fastball, strike 3 looking. Carlos Ray pumps himself up off the mound. Talks to his catcher, Hudson White, and watches Cameron Smith walk back to Hyannis' dugout. That's the first out of the inning, and the first strikeout of the day for Carlos Ray. With the bases loaded and one out, here comes Austin Kelly. He swings from the left side. Pitch. Fastball at 90 misses away. It's ball one. A force at any base, but because of the strikeout looking, Chatham's middle infield is in double play depth. They could turn two to end the frame. 1-0 is popped up behind home plate. Hudson White sprints after it, but the ball hits the protective netting right as White started to camp under the baseball. 1 ball and 1 strike to the left-handed Austin Kelly, who's 0 for 1 today with a sacrifice fly in the third. Rather 0 for 0 today. He was hit by a pitch back in the first inning. Earhart at third, Mitchell at second, Hainline stands at first. 1 out in the top of the fourth. Chatham 4, Hyannis 3. Pitch is clocked. Deep right field. Lyle Miller-Green hustles back. He's at the track, and it hops over the wall. A ground rule double brings home 2 runs. Lyle Miller-Green hustled back to his right. Seemed as if he camped under the baseball, but instead it went right over his head, hopped over the wall for a ground rule double. Hyannis leads 5-4 in the top of the fourth. Austin Kelly brings home Earhart and Mitchell. And Hainline stands at third. Here comes Will Taylor, the right-handed hitting Clemson Tiger, with runners on second and third and 1 out. The pitch is a changeup that misses inside, 1-0. You have to wonder what Lyle Miller-Green was thinking when the ball was spiraling in his direction. A nonchalant jog to right center field, and the ball went over his head. The 1-0 fastball is a called strike on the inside corner. Counts even at 1-1. By the look of things, it looked to be a routine flyout. But instead, Kelly drives home 2 on a ground rule double. The 1-1 to Taylor is a line drive left side. Fabian fields it short, throws to first in time to set down Taylor. But Elijah Hainline comes in to score to make it a 6-4 Hyannis lead in the top of the fourth inning.
And you go back to that ground rule double, Joe, and simply based off the body language Miller-Green was showing you, you thought either he has a beat on this or he thinks it's 20 feet over his head and way gone, and somehow it landed 5 feet behind him on the warning track and one hopped the wall.
Snow stares at the first pitch fastball high for ball 1. Eric Snow, a right-handed hitter, is 1 for 2 today with a single in his last at-bat in the third. He's got a runner on third with 2 gone. Ray comes set and fires. The lefty's fastball misses inside. It's quickly 2 balls and no strikes. Right field is the shortest part of the ballpark. Lyle Miller-Green hustled back to right center at 357. The 2-0 is a fastball in there for strike 1. Right center field is even with left center field. Miller-Green has played both right and left for Chatham this year. Carlos Ray down 2-1 in the count. His fastball is popped up foul, drifting out of play towards the Little League field, just behind Hyannis' dugout. 2 balls and 2 strikes on Snow. The bull out of southern Florida stands into the right-handed batter's box. The future Central Florida Knight, Carlos Ray, the lefty, goes home. In the air, right field to right center. Lyle Miller-Green sprints back. He's at the track, and he makes the catch, meeting Matthew Etzel in right center. He catches the ball for the final out by his right ear. But Hyannis retakes the lead in the top of the fourth inning thanks to 3 runs on 2 hits. They leave just 1 runner on base. Hyannis has a 6-4 lead after 3.5. Bottom of the fourth coming up next on the Cape Cod Baseball Network.
Chatham on TRZ, Cape Cod.
Like to tell you about now, baby. You know, she comes around. Just about 5'4", from her head to the ground. You know, she comes around here just about midnight. She make her feel so good, love. She make her feel alright. And her name is G. L. Whoa. R. I. G-L-Y. Oh, yeah. G-L-Y. Oh, yeah. I'm gonna shout it all night. Oh, yeah. I'm gonna shout it every day. Oh, yeah, 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 yeah.
Hyannis posted a 3 spot in the top of the 4th inning. The Harbor Hawks have a 6-4 lead over the Anglers as we start the bottom of the 4th inning. Before we do so, it's time for a Chatham Bars Inn call to the bullpen. Cade Obermuller takes over on the mound for Eric Beatty in the Hyannis Harbor Hawks. Obermuller is a left-handed pitcher standing at 5 feet 11 inches tall. He's a Hawkeye from Iowa, pitching in his 4th appearance of the summer. So far, he's pitched 5 innings and a third, given up a hit with no runs, 8 Ks, and 2 walks. The first batter he faces in the bottom of the 4th inning is Carter Trice, a left-handed pitcher against a right-handed hitter. Trice walked in his lone at-bat in the game, and he came around to score. Left-handed Obermuller's first pitch is a fastball at 93 that catches the outside corner for strike 1. Obermuller sports a fastball-slider combination. Nearly a 10-mile-an-hour difference between the heater and the slide piece. He comes set for the 0-1. That fastball misses away, and it counts even at a ball and a strike. Carter Trice came into today's game 5 for 8 in 3 games played. He was 4 for 5 in yesterday's win over Harwich. The 1-1. A fastball misses at the eyes at 96 miles an hour. 2 balls and a strike. Obermuller has a funky delivery. He collects his hands below his belt, kicks his right leg towards his left hand, and fires home. That time a 92-mile-an-hour fastball that Trice watched by for strike 2. It's as if he hikes his right knee towards his left hip. He sets up on the third base side of the rubber, working out of the stretch. A deep breath. His 2-2 is a slider that misses low and inside. The count runs full at 3-2. Obermuller just wrapped up his freshman year with Iowa. Right foot in front of left. He fires 3-2. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. The 92-mile-an-hour fastball fooled Trice on the outside corner. First out of the inning. The first strikeout for Cade Obermuller.
Final line tonight for the starter Ethan Bates. 3 innings pitched, 2 hits, 4 runs, all earned, 2 walks, and 3 Ks for the righty out of LA Tech.
Obermuller's first pitch to Antonacci is a slider, misses outside. Ball 1. Neither starting pitcher had himself a day to remember. Lefty on lefty battle. The 1-0 heater runs inside. 2 balls and no strikes. Chatham starter Jack Sokol tossed 3 innings. Gave up 5 hits, 4 runs, all of them earned. 2 Ks and 2 walks. Infield, outfield, straight away. 2-0 to Antonacci. Catches the upper part of the plate. 2 balls and a strike. Antonacci had a sacrifice bunt back in the second inning. A second inning in which Chatham produced 4 runs on 2 hits. That's currently Chatham's line. The 2-1, Antonacci squares and bunts it foul over towards Chatham's dugout. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Antonacci's been trying for about a week to lay down a base hit with a bunt, and that one not his best attempt. We've seen a couple that have rolled down the third base line and trickled off the lip of the grass, just foul. That one about 45 degrees the wrong way.
2 balls and 2 strikes to the lefty. The pitch, swing and a miss, strike 3. That slider fell off the outside corner. Antonacci holds his bat in the left hand, stares up at the left center field scoreboard, and puts his chin down, entering Chatham's third base dugout. 2 away here in the bottom of the 4th. Hyannis still leads 6-4. With nobody on and 2 outs, in stands Caden Kent. He swings from the left side against the left-handed Cade Obermuller. 1 for 1 with a single and a run scored. Pitch. Fastball catches the inside corner at 94 miles an hour. The fastest we've seen so far from Obermuller in this half inning. No balls and a strike. Kent came into today a .292 hitter. 0-1. Slider misses away. And the count evens up at 1-1. The fog begins to rumble out from left field. Keep an eye on it. Visibility right now is perfect. The 1-1 is a fastball check swing, but it was in the zone anyways. A ball and 2 strikes. We can easily see the fans scattered in right center field. We can also pinpoint the Chatham Firehouse in right field. They say if you can't see the firehouse, you have to stop play. They meaning, well, just folklore. Kent pops up the 1-2 pitch into right center. Earhart in right field makes the catch, and that does it for the bottom of the 4th inning. Zeros across the board for the A's as Cade Obermuller strikes out the first 2 batters he sees. We'll go to the top of the 5th inning. It's Hyannis 6, Chatham 4 on the Cape Cod Baseball Network.
Chatham on TRZ, Cape Cod.
You get a shiver in the dark, it's raining in the park, but meantime, sound of the river, you stop and you hold everything. A band is blowing Dixie, double fall time. You feel alright when you hear the music ring. And now you step inside, but you don't see too many faces. Coming in out of the rain and hear the jazz go down. Competition in other places.
Onward we go to the road half of the 5th inning. Hyannis leads 6-4 over Chatham here at Veterans Field. With Andrew Selover, I'm Joe Puccio. We thank you for spending your Saturday with us here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Batters 7, 8, and 9 are due up for the Harbor Hawks. Starting with Trey Lipsy, who swings from the left side against the left-handed Carlos Ray. Ray's in his 2nd inning of work. He gave up 3 runs in the top of the 4th inning. He kicks in deals. Lipsy was hit by the pitch. Lipsy squared to bunt. Lipsy's shaking out his left hand as it hit the handle, but Lipsy is not advancing towards first base. It hit off his handle. It's a foul ball. No balls and a strike on Lipsy. Boy, if his bat was back just a few more inches, he would have been on first base. The 0-1 fastball is knuckled the opposite way. Schubert in left field watches it fall foul. Lipsy pushed that ball towards the opposite field. It looped foul. 2 straight foul balls, and the count's 0-2 on the Hyannis left fielder, who's 0 for 2 today. Fly it out to center and popped out to Chatham starter Jack Sokol last time up. Ray working from the windup on the third base side of the rubber. Sweeps his leg and deals 0-2. A fastball that's fouled off his front foot. The ball trickled into fair territory where Xavier Casarilla fielded it. Casarilla gave Ray the baseball, but Ray wants a new ball from home plate umpire Fred DeJesus. DeJesus grants that wish. He even brushes off home plate. Wow, what a nice guy for Carlos. We'll redo no balls and 2 strikes with Trey Lipsy. An Ohio State Buckeye against a Nova Southeastern Shark. 0-2. Slider misses away. Count runs to 1-2. The fog walks its way in towards left field as Ray deals 1-2. That one hit him. Lipsy was plunked by a fastball in his right elbow. Fred DeJesus comes out to speak with Carlos Ray. DeJesus is shaking his head, walking back to his post behind home plate. Have to wonder if there's been some words exchanged between the two about plunking hitters.
Well, I think Chatham thought that Lipsy leaned his front right shoulder in towards that up and in fastball to receive the hit by pitch. That not the case according to DeJesus, as he granted the hit by pitch on Lipsy first base.
So Lipsy heads over towards first. Aaron Parker stands in to the right-handed batter's box. Runner on first, no outs. First pitch, a fastball that's hit the other way. Antonacci catches it at short. Attempted to double up Lipsy over at first base, but Antonacci just caught the ball in shallow right center field, ranged towards his left to make the catch, and set down Aaron Parker for the first out. Here comes Zach Earhart, the Oklahoma State right fielder. He digs his right foot into the right-handed batter's box. His left foot comes with him, even with the top line of home plate. Left-handed Ray against right-handed Earhart. The first pitch, a fastball misses high and tight for ball 1. Casarilla is playing in the baseline between second and third. He might be looking out for a bunt. Runner on first with 1 out. Lipsy gets 2 strides off of first base. Looks towards Carlos Ray as the pitcher fires home. Fastball misses inside. 2 balls and no strikes. Except for Casarilla, Chatham's infield and outfield is straight away. Casarilla still in that baseline between second and third. Ray, a snap throw to first. Kent has to gobble it into his glove. A low snap throw took 1 hop into Caden Kent's glove, who Kent knocked down the baseball to keep Trey Lipsy over at first base. 2 balls and no strikes still to Zach Earhart, who's 0 for 1 today. He walked his last time up and scored. 2-0. Fastball, rather the changeup, runs away, and it's 3 balls and no strikes. Carlos Ray, as we mentioned earlier, he's in his 2nd inning of work. He gave up 2 hits, walked 1, and struck out 1. 3-0 is blooped the other way for a base hit. Lipsy rounds second. He's on his horse towards third. He gets in standing. The ball gets away. Eric Beatty points for Lipsy to score, and he does so. Lyle Miller Green's throw in from right field is wayward to third. It got past Xavier Casarilla. Carlos Ray scrambled for the loose ball as Trey Lipsy came home to score. It's 7-4 Hyannis in the top of the 5th. Earhart gets on with a single. Trey Lipsy and Zach Earhart advance on the overthrow. Score an E9 on Lyle Miller Green. Lipsy comes home to score. Earhart stands on second. Hyannis balloons its lead to 3. It's 7-4 Harbor Hawks. Here comes Nick Mitchell. First pitch to the lefty is grounded towards second. Antonacci fields to his right on 1 foot, throws to first in time. Sets down Nick Mitchell for the second out. Zach Earhart advances to third. Andrew Lyle Miller Green has struggled out in right field today.
Yeah, that one not exactly his fault, Joe. Fabian went to cut it off, and I think everybody expected him to do so. Last minute, he decides not to. Everybody caught off guard, so it bounces up the third base line as the throw was slightly offline. But if you're Miller Green, you're just throwing it towards the cutoff man, which he did.
Tom Holliday walks out towards Chatham's mound. He stares out to the left field bullpen, but does not motion towards it. He just meets with Carlos Ray, Hudson White, and Chatham's infield. Well, this gives us a good time to look at the left center field scoreboard. Hyannis has 7 runs on 9 hits and no errors defensively. Chatham has 4 runs on 2 hits, one of those hits being a 3-run home run from Hudson White, which happens to be the last hit Chatham's had in this game. And now Tom Holliday points out to the bullpen in left field, and we'll have another Chatham bars in call to the bullpen. Andrew, let's run through some Major League Baseball scores as Chatham brings out Zach Harris on the mound. I'll break down Zach Harris once you're done talking about some scores in Major League Baseball. Does that sound good?
That sounds like a plan to me, Joe. They done for Carlos Ray as we check in on the big leagues. Plenty of finals on this Saturday evening. The Mets 4-1 winners over the Giants tonight. Braves win 7-0 over the Marlins after a 6-run first inning for Atlanta. Not many Chatham alums in action thus far. Shea Langolier's not in the starting lineup for Oakland as the A's knocked off the White Sox 7-6. Connor Joe, first time in a while, out of the Pittsburgh lineup as well as the Pirates fell 11-8 to the Brewers. Philadelphia hung a 19 spot on Washington today, 19-4 victory for the Phillies. On the other end of scoring, 1-0, the Twins knocked off the Orioles today. A couple other local games to check in on. The Yankees are playing a doubleheader today against the Cardinals. St. Louis won 11-4 in game number 1. New York up 1-0 in the top of the first in game number 2. Meanwhile, the Boston Red Sox victorious 7-6 today over the Blue Jays on the road. A couple more scores in action right now. Tampa Bay trails Seattle 2-0 in the top of the 6th. Former Chatham broadcaster Jake Eisenberg calling Dodgers-Royals in Kansas City, scoreless top of the 1st. And a rain delay in Chicago, Cubs and Guardians yet to get underway.
And that's a check of Major League Baseball scores. Presented by Chatham Bars Inn, New England's premier oceanfront resort. And it's time for Chatham Bars Inn to hear its name once again because it's a Chatham Bars Inn call to the bullpen. Zach Harris from Georgia Southern makes his first appearance with Chatham this summer. With Georgia Southern in his freshman year, Zach Harris had an ERA just south of 8, a 7.85 ERA in 19 appearances. He pitched 36 and 2/3 innings, struck out 33 and walked 21. The sophomore from Milton, Georgia, has a runner on third with 1 out, coming in relief for Carlos Ray. Two outs here in the top of the 5th inning. And the first batter that Harris faces is Elijah Hainline. The right-handed Harris against the right-handed Hainline. Harris comes set, hands at the Chatham on his chest. First pitch A fastball that's grounded to the left side. Casarilla backhands, fires across the diamond in time to set down Hainline. One pitch, one out. Zach Harris walks towards Chatham's bullpen. Hyannis has a 7-4 lead over Chatham. Harbor Hawks scored a run on a hit in that last half inning and left one runner on base. We're halfway there on the Cape Cod Baseball Network.
The Cape's leader, sports radio, play-by-play. Go A's! Chatham on TRC, Cape Cod. Oh, we're halfway there. Oh, living on a prayer. Take my hand, we'll make it, I swear. Oh, living on a prayer. Time has got his six string high. Now he's holding in when he used to make it talk so tough. It's tough. Cheetah dreams are running away. She cries in the nighttime and whispers, "Baby, it's okay. Someday we gotta hold on to what we got. It doesn't make a difference if we make it or not. We got each other, and that's a lot for love. We're giving it a shot. Oh, we're halfway there. Oh, living on a prayer. Take my hand, we'll make it, I swear. Oh.
Time for the bottom of the fifth inning here at Veterans Field. It's Hyannis 7, Chatham 4. The Anglers step up to the plate, bringing up batters 8, 9, and 1, starting with Xavier Casarilla. The right-handed hitting third baseman gets ready to go against the left-handed relief pitcher, Cade Obermuller. The first pitch in this half inning is grounded foul over towards Hyannis' dugout. Almost plunks Aiden Robinson, our videographer, over by Hyannis' dugout. She's okay, though, with a bright smile on her face. No balls and a strike to Casarilla. Obermuller in the stretch, deals home. Changeup misses away, ball one. Casarilla is 0 for 1 today with a swinging strikeout back in the second. He waves a black-dipped bat over his right shoulder. Obermuller takes a deep breath on the mound and goes home. 1-1 grounded up the middle. Snowfields zips over to first in time to set down Casarilla. A weakly hit ground ball up the middle. Snow, the second baseman, made 4 strides to his right to field the ball into his chest. And he threw it over to first with his right hand to set down Casarilla for the first out. Here comes Hudson White, the 9-hole hitter for Chatham, who digs into the right-handed batter's box. The southpaw Obermuller kicks his leg and goes home. Slider misses inside and ball trickles to the backstop. Tipped off Parker's glove. Parker retrieves a brand new baseball from home plate umpire Fred DeJesus. 1 ball and no strikes on Hudson White. Hudson White sent a baseball over the left field wall his last time up. A 3-run home run back in the second inning. The 1-0, swing and a miss. Way late on the 92-mile-an-hour fastball. The count's even at 1-1. Hudson White's home run was the last hit that Chatham's recorded. Since then, 8 have come up, 8 sent down. 1-1. Changeup misses high. It's 2 balls and a strike. If you glance up towards the sky, you see some fog beginning to creep its way towards Veterans Field, both behind home plate and out from left field. The 2-1 to White misses high, 3-1. That pitch missed not high enough as the fog is currently under the candlelights at Veterans Field, but just a few inches above the strike zone. 3 balls and 1 strike to White. Nobody on, 1 out. The pitch is a fastball called strike on the outside corner. Hudson White began to twirl his bat towards Chatham's dugout, but instead has to hold on to that black-dipped barrel and black-dipped handle and settle in for the full count offering. Obermueller comes set. Third base side of the rubber. Payoff pitch. Strike three looking. He got him. The changeup finds the outside corner, and there's 2 outs here in the 5th. Make it 3 punch-outs now for Obermueller, who set down each batter he's faced. Here comes the 6th batter that Obermueller's faced. It's Matthew Etzel, a left-handed hitter against the left-handed pitcher. The first pitch, Etzel squares to bunt, pushes it foul down the third base line. Etzel attempted a bunt. The pitch was outside. He pushed it towards the third baseline, but had no chance of staying fair. No balls and a strike to Chatham's center fielder, who's 0 for 2 today. 0-1. Misses outside. 1 ball and 1 strike. Andrew, that fog continues to make its way towards Veterans Field.
It's caught my eye. I'm admiring it right now.
Andrew's just staring out up into the sky, marveling at the fog. The 1-1 fastball is chopped up the middle. Snow fields it with his left hand, wings it over to first in time to get Etzel to record the 1-2-3 inning. Chatham set down in order for the 3rd consecutive half inning. No runs on no hits, no one left on base. As we advance to the top of the 6th, it's 7-4 Hyannis on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Cape Cod Healthcare is proud to be the official healthcare provider of the Cape Cod Baseball League and shares a reminder that blood donated to Cape Cod Healthcare stays on Cape Cod. Help save the lives of your friends, family, and neighbors. Learn more at capecodhealth.org/blood center. Cape Cod Healthcare. Caring. Commitment. Community.
I got so down and out in Frisco, tired of the pills and the rain. I picked up headed for the sunshine. I left a good thing behind. Seemed all of our love was in vain. Now my baby's coming in on the Tucson train. I come here looking for a new life, one I wouldn't have to explain. That voice that keeps me awake at night, when a little piece would make everything right. If I could just turn off my brain. But now my baby's coming in on the Tucson train. We fought hard over nothing.
We're back on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Hyannis has a 7-4 lead over Chatham as we start the top of the 6th inning. Zach Harris is back on the mound for the A's. He came in for just 1 batter. He threw 1 pitch to Elijah Hainline in the 5th inning and got him to ground out to 3rd. The first batter that Harris faces in the 6th is Cameron Smith, a righty-on-righty matchup. Harris works from the stretch. His first pitch is a fastball check swing. Did he go? Yes, says first base umpire Warren Nicholson. Hyannis coaches argue it's a late appeal towards first, but it doesn't matter. It's no balls and a strike to the Harbor Hawks' 3rd baseman. He's 2 for 3 today. He hit a double back in the 3rd and scored. Harris kicks 0-1. Heater at 96 misses inside for ball 1. We mentioned the fog in the bottom of the 5th inning. Well, it's continued to rumble its way on towards Veterans Field, both from left field and behind home plate. It's sitting below the lights, but just visible enough to play. The 1-1 is chopped foul over towards Chatham's 3rd base dugout. The count's even, rather the count goes to 1-2.
And if you're an Angler fan, that's bad news. You don't really, if you're losing the game after 4.5 innings, you don't want fog to come in and possibly end the game.
Harris gets the sign from White. His 1-2 pitch is a fastball that's hammered. Right field, Lyle Miller-Green can't find the ball. It's in the right field corner. LMG can't see it, and the ball one-hops the wall. Smith rounds second. He's getting held up at third. It's a triple for Lyle Miller-Green as he could not find the ball in the fog. Tom Holliday is seated outside of the third base dugout. The home plate umpire, Fred DeJesus, is talking to Hudson White. DeJesus waves over Warren Nicholson, and Warren Nicholson calls the fog delay. He brings Chatham's fielders off the field. Oh boy, we've got consecutive fog delays at Veterans Field. At least that's what we presume, as the Anglers are coming off the field. We'll wait on the official word. Tom Holliday has walked out towards home plate to speak with the umpires who are set up on the infield cutout in between the pitcher's mound and home plate. That last fly ball into right field, right off the bat, Lyle Miller-Green could not see it. He put his palms up in the air, and that is the cause of what we presume to be a fog delay at Veterans Field.
Last night, it was the fog that aided Chatham to a couple, what you probably would say, extra base hits on balls that would have been routine flyouts. Tonight, it's 1-0 Hyannis in terms of fog-aided hits at the moment.
The umpires have stopped talking to the coaching staff, and we're official. A fog delay is on at 8:53 p.m. to create a 20-minute fog delay. Well, if you're here for fog delay coverage, you've come to the right place. 2 straight fog delays here at Veterans Field. And so, for the next 20 minutes, we will entertain you. Andrew Selover and Joe Puccio here at Cape Cod Baseball Network. Andrew, there's other games going on in Cape Cod, which I presume are not fog delays right now, so go over those scores for us.
Why not? Presented by Sweet Tomatoes Pizza, our check of the Cape Cod Baseball League scoreboard. Couple finals already tonight. Harwich 3-2 winners over Catuit. That's 2 of the best 3 teams in the Cape League. And the Mariners pull out a 1-run victory. YD 3-2 victors over Brewster tonight. That's important if you're a Chatham fan. The Anglers came into tonight 3 points behind Brewster for 4th place in the East Division. If Chatham were to come back and win this game with a matchup at Brewster tomorrow, those 2 would be playing for 4th place. Chatham still has work to do and a fog delay to escape with hopefully not an ending of tonight's contest. It's 7-4 Hyannis over Chatham here at Veterans Field. 11-5 Falmouth in front of Wareham in the top of the 9th. The Commodores just 3 outs away from a 4th straight victory after a tough start to 2023. And Bourne is in front by 1, 5-4 over Orleans in the bottom of the 8th. The Braves are also rolling right now. Falmouth and Bourne, 2 teams that started off at the bottom of the West Division, have all of a sudden caught fire as the month has flipped to July.
And we're nearing the halfway point of the season. Former Chatham manager former Chatham manager John Schiffner would say that the Chatham season doesn't start until July 4th against Orleans. And because of how the modern Cape Cod Baseball League is constructed, with the draft happening in middle of July, you don't know who is really on your team until you get towards the 4th of July. So 4th of July weekend here in Cape Cod. On this Saturday, we're in the middle of a fog delay. Hyannis leads 7-4 over Chatham in the top of the 6th inning. And we'll go to a quick break. We'll step aside and try and gather as much information as we can. We're currently in a 20-minute fog delay here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network.
Chatham on TRZ, Cape Cod.
Did you write the book of love, and do you have faith in God above?
day that I die. Now for 10 years we've been on our own, and moss grows fat on a rolling stone, but that's not how it used to be. When the jester sang for the king and queen in a coat he borrowed from James Dean, and a voice that came from you and me. Oh, and while the king was looking down, the jester stole his thorny crown. The courtroom was adjourned. No verdict was returned. And while Lennon read a book on Marx, the quartet practiced in the park, and we sang dirges in the dark. The day the music died, we were singing bye bye Miss American Pie. Drove my Chevy to the levee, but the levee was dry. Them good old boys were drinking whiskey and rye, and singing, this'll be the day that I die. This'll be the day that I die. Helter skelter in the summer swelter, the birds flew off with a fallout shelter, 8 miles high and falling fast. It landed foul on the grass. The players tried for a forward pass, with the jester on the sidelines in a cast. Now the halftime air was sweet perfume, while the sergeants played a marching tune. We all got up to dance, oh, but we never got the chance, 'cause the players tried to take the field. The marching band refused to yield. Do you recall what was revealed the day the music died? We started singing bye bye Miss American Pie. Drove my Chevy to the levee, but the levee was dry. Them good old boys were drinking whiskey and rye, and singing, this'll be the day that I die. This'll be the day that I die. Oh, and there we were all in one place.
Back here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network, Andrew Selover with you, high above Diamond Side at Veterans Field. Chatham in a fog delay for the second night in a row, this time against Hyannis. Last night, the fog delay occurred in the third inning. Chatham was leading at that, was actually tied at that point, 0-0, but no complete game technically had been filled. So if the fog delay resulted in a cancellation, it would just be a postponement. Tonight, if at the end of this fog delay that began at officially 8:53 Eastern Time here at Veterans Field, so in 20 minutes at 9:13, if the game were determined to not be clear enough to play, Chatham would lose to Hyannis 7-4. As it stands, the Harbor Hawks scored 1 in the first, 2 in the third, 3 in the fourth, and 1 in the fifth. And to lead off the sixth, Cam Smith hit a triple through the fog that was not catchable for Lyle Miller Green. He lost the baseball in the fog, and that sent us to a fog delay. For Chatham, the Anglers scored all 4 hits in the bottom of the second. Chatham still just only has 2 hits on the night. Both came in that inning, a single from Caden Kent and then a 3-run home run from Hudson White. The 2 other runs came from walks of Lyle Miller Green and Carter Trice. 7 runs on 9 hits, no errors so far for Hyannis. 4 runs on 2 hits, 2 errors for Chatham. In the right field outfield grass, the Harbor Hawks are out there playing some games. Meanwhile, Chatham is down the left field line, tossing around a baseball and playing some catch. We're officially 8 minutes into our first fog delay of the night and second of the season on back-to-back nights at Veterans Field. A night ago, Chatham and Harwich entered a fog delay in the top of the third scoreless. How it works in a fog delay in the Cape Cod Baseball League is if at the end of 20 minutes it's determined that it is unplayable, the game is over for that night. If the game's through 5 innings, the winner wins. If it's a tie, well, then you would have to find a new day to play it and resume. Same thing if it were before the completion of 5 innings, which deems it a full game. So, at the moment, it's Hyannis leading Chatham 7-4. Through 5, we're in the top of the 6th. If at 9:13 the fog is deemed unplayable, the Harbor Hawks will win 7-4 over Chatham and advance to 9-8-1. If Chatham were to lose this game, they'd fall to 5-12-1. The Anglers entered today, worst record in the East Division, at 5-11-1, 11 points, 3 points shy of Brewster in 4th with 14 points. Meanwhile, for the Harbor Hawks, Hyannis entered 8-8-1 with 17 points on the day. That's 3 points ahead of Falmouth and in 4th place in the West Division. Hyannis came into tonight on a 2-game losing streak. Chatham snapped a 4-game losing streak with a win 8-1 over Harwich last night. Andrew Selover still with you here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. If you're just joining us, we are in a fog delay for the second straight night at Veterans Field. Fog delay started exactly 10 minutes ago between Hyannis and Chatham. Harbor Hawks in front 7-4. Both teams still staying loose down their respective lines. At the moment, the fog is probably about just the same level it was at when the fog delay began. And theoretically, if it stays just as bad as it was at the beginning of the delay, then the umpires will likely rule that this game is over and Hyannis has won. So if you're a Chatham fan, you really didn't want a fog delay to begin with, and you certainly don't want the fog to get any worse as it begins to thicken. And all you can see at this point on the firehouse past Depot Road behind right center field are the lights. That's a bad signal. For Chatham, you have 10 minutes for this fog to ease up, and if not, the Anglers will lose 7-4 to Hyannis through 5 full innings. We'll take another quick break here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Once again, in a fog delay at Veterans Field, Chatham trailing 7-4 to Hyannis, and the Anglers trying to get back in it, but at first they need the fog to ease and the fog delay to end. Right now, it's not cooperating. Stay with us for more coverage on the Cape Cod Baseball Network.
Chatham on TRC, Cape Cod.
I got my first real 6-string, bought it at the 5 and dime, played it till my fingers bled. Was the summer of '69. Me and some guys from school had a band and we tried real hard. Jimmy quit, Jody got married. Should've known we'd never get far. Oh, when I look back now, the summer seemed
Back here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network, Andrew Selover with you. Joe Puccio rejoins us up in the broadcast booth. Chatham trailing Hyannis 7-4 in fog delay number 1 of the night and number 2 of the last 2 nights and the season. We are 5 minutes away, Joe, from the conclusion of this fog delay. And for those just joining us, Chatham trailing Hyannis 7-4. The rule book on a fog delay in the Cape League is when the fog delay starts, it goes 20 minutes no matter what. If you were at 10 minutes and it was playable, it doesn't matter. You go till 20 minutes of a delay, and at the end of those 20 minutes, the umpires come out and they determine, Joe, whether it's playable or unplayable. If it's playable, you start playing again, and if, for instance, 5 pitches later it got worse and you wanted to go into another fog delay, you would do the exact same thing, another 20 minutes on the clock. But if at the end of any fog delay in 20 minutes you rule it's unplayable, the game for that night is over. If it's been a complete game through 5+ innings, well, whoever's winning wins the game, and if it were tied, you would have to find a date to resume. Meanwhile, if it were less than 5 innings completed, you would have to find a date to finish out that game as well. But Joe, the scoreboard reads 7-4 in favor of Hyannis through 5 innings. So if in now 4 minutes the umpires come out and say this is unplayable, Chatham loses to Hyannis for the second time this season. And an update on what the fog looks like, it's, I would say, probably about the same as what it looked like when the fog delay started.
Yeah, I was talking to Marty Lees on the field, and he said that he was pessimistic about this game returning. He said just because of how low the fog is hanging below the lights, it's hard for the outfielders to find the baseball. But then Chatham president Steve West was on the field, and he said if we don't play in this, we won't play all summer long. So we'll see whose opinion matters the most. Right now it seems as if the coaching staff is pessimistic about the resumption of this game, but if you're Chatham, as you mentioned, right, Andrew, you have to do everything in your power to convince the umpires to keep playing this game, or else it's a loss.
The funny thing that will happen in about 3 minutes' time, 9:10 Eastern at the moment, the fog delay began at 8:53 Eastern time and is slated to conclude at 9:13 Eastern time, as you will have Eric Beatty, manager of the Harbor Hawks, and Tom Holliday, manager of the Anglers, walk out with the umpires. And Tom Holliday, I'm sure, will need to and will want to do everything in his power to convince the umpires this is playable. And Eric Beatty, well, he's going to want to say, no, we can't play in this. The outfielders can't see it, because if he wins that argument, the Harbor Hawks win.
It's funny, if he gives that argument, he'll have to tell his team to go back into the dugout, because right now the Harbor Hawks are playing a wiffle ball game in shallow right field. It seems as if Chatham's bullpen is staying active in left field, but if the Harbor Hawks can read wiffle balls, can they read baseballs at the same efficiency? I'm not entirely sure.
On visibility standpoint, you can faintly make out the firehouse across the street of Depot Road behind right center field. The one thing I will say, as the umpires walk out of the gate towards home plate, pitches were thrown in this and worse fog last night after a fog delay between Harwich and Chatham.
That might be what Tom Holliday talks about in this meeting with Eric Beatty and the umpiring crew.
Tom Holliday's waiting his time before he walks out at the end of 20 full minutes.
The fog has either stayed the same or it's arguably gotten worse. The 20-minute fog delay has concluded. Now, I'm not sure how you argue that this game continues if the fog has stayed the same or gotten worse.
If you're Tom Holliday, all you have to say, your best argument is, we threw pitches in worse fog than this, which they did last night. It's not a false argument. And then see what the umpires say. And if you're Eric Beatty, you just named the argument. It's gotten worse since you stopped the game. Or, at minimum, stayed the same.
An important note to keep in mind is that first base umpire Warren Nicholson was the one who called this fog delay. Lyle Miller Green out in right field could not find the baseball. So the first base umpire, he called time, walked over to home plate umpire Fred DeJesus and said, we have to delay this game.
The group of five still talking at home plate. What you do not want to see if you're a Chatham fan is a shake of hands to indicate the end of this contest.
As a wiffle ball in the Hyannis game goes over towards third base. It's a yellow ball, so you can see that easier.
No shake of hands, which theoretically indicates that this game will be resumed.
The umpires are still talking it over at home plate. There wasn't. Marty Lee says there's 10 more minutes. Maybe. Perhaps. 10 more minutes of the fog delay. That's something.
So, the interesting part of this, Joe, the NCAA rule on this is a 30-minute delay with the parameters that we have set out. The last two nights, they have done a 20-minute delay, and perhaps Tom Holliday just told them that it's supposed to be 30 minutes and got an extra 10 minutes. I don't know. But evidently, it's not going to be an end at 20 minutes, and they'll wait 10 more minutes. I have a feeling that at the end of 30, you will get an official ruling on play or no play. Just to recap one more time for you, if you're just joining us on the Cape Cod Baseball Network, Chatham is trailing Hyannis 7-4 in the top of the sixth inning. The leadoff man in the top of the sixth for the Harbor Hawks, Cam Smith, lined a ball to right field. It was a relatively routine ball tailing towards the line for Lyle Miller Green. Immediately, he put both palms up to the sky, had no idea where the baseball was, and Cam Smith tripled to lead off the top of the sixth. At that point, first base umpire Warren Nicholson then indicated a fog delay. We're through 20 minutes. We're now 3 minutes into the additional 10 minutes, and Chatham trailing 7-4. If the game is called, Hyannis wins it because we have completed a full 5 innings of baseball, and the Harbor Hawks lead by 3. So Chatham trying to convince the umpires that this game should be resumed, but at the moment, the fog continues to billow in from down the left field line and behind home plate. It hangs lower and lower across the infield and the outfield of Veterans Field, and this is looking even worse at the moment for Chatham fans hoping for a resumption of play. Andrew Selover still with you. We'll take one more quick break as we are now 4 minutes into the additional 10 minutes, of our what was an originally scheduled 20-minute fog delay. So, here we go. One more quick break, and hopefully we'll be back with a resolution on the other side. Stay with us here. We're still rolling through this fog delay. Hyannis and Chatham, Harbor Hawks up 7-4, and you're listening to it on the Cape Cod Baseball Network.
Chatham on TRC, Cape Cod.
future that I can see. It's just my fantasy.
All right, we're back here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Andrew Selover with you, still up in the broadcast booth. Joe Puccio's down on the sideline trying to figure out what the resolution of this fog delay is. Chatham currently trailing Hyannis 7-4. The fog has thickened since we last went to break. You can barely see the outfield fence. Maybe 50% visibility on the outfield fence to both left field and right field now. Absolutely no visibility of the firehouse across the street other than the lights that shine on front of it. The argument is strengthening minute by minute for manager Eric Beatty of Hyannis that this game should end at the end of this additional 10 minutes of a fog delay. And if so, the Harbor Hawks win in a shortened game due to fog, 7-4 over Chatham. Again, that not official yet. All three umpires, Fred DeJesus, Warren Nicholson, and John LaMattia, are all down right around home plate. They're still circled up, and they are still trying to wait out this fog delay. We got 1 minute left, technically, on the additional 10, and you can barely even see the Harbor Hawks standing in right field now. The fog's gotten even worse over the last 2 minutes. And now both managers walk out towards home plate. You have to feel that this is going to be a quick meeting to end the contest. Tom Holliday walks out. He stands in the right-hand batter's box. Eric Beatty in the left-hand batter's box, and the three umpires circling them. We wait for this conversation. At the moment, Chatham trailing Hyannis 7-4 through 5 in the top of the sixth in a fog delay. That is now officially 30 minutes in. This delay can't go any longer according to the rules. So you either have to throw a pitch at this point or end the game. And let me tell you, pitches were thrown in fog that lay over Veterans Field 20 minutes into the lay. Pitches last night were not thrown in fog currently that lays over Veterans Field, because from our vantage point in the broadcast booth, high up above Diamond's side down the third base line, I can't see the right field foul pole. I can barely make out the outfield fence in right and right center. You can see the figurines of Hyannis Harbor Hawks that are warming up out in right field should the game continue. But a thick fog just lay over Veterans Field. And Chatham is in real danger right now of dropping a 12th contest of the year, falling to 5-12-1. And Hyannis is likely about to move to 9-8-1. Still a conversation between Tom Holliday, Eric Beatty, and our three umpires tonight, Fred DeJesus, Warren Nicholson, and John LaMattia. While they talk, well, we might as well get you another check-in on the Cape League scoreboard tonight, as we're in a fog delay. 7-4 Hyannis in front of Chatham at Veterans Field. 30 minutes into a fog delay. The other four games, all final tonight. Bourne wins 6-5 over Orleans. Falmouth wins 11-5 over Wareham. Harwich wins 3-2 over Catuit. and YD wins 3-2 over Brewster. So the two teams in third and fourth, Orleans and Brewster, ahead of Chatham in the East Division, both lose tonight. Anglers came in 3 points back of the Whitecaps and 5 points back of the Firebirds, with one less game played than the Whitecaps. Brewster hosting Chatham at 5 p.m. tomorrow night. If you're still tuned in and curious about what's ahead on the Chatham Anglers schedule and our 4th of July schedule, well, tomorrow it's a 5 p.m. first pitch at Brewster. There's also a concert and fireworks show here at Veterans Field. Concert starts at 7:45, fireworks slated for 8:45. So maybe you can head over to White House Field, see a few pitches between Chatham and Brewster, and then make it back for the fireworks as well. That's hopefully what we'll be doing, Joe and I. Andrew Selover with you still here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Then on Monday, it's a make-up reschedule game with Harwich here at Veterans Field, a 7 p.m. first pitch. Chatham travels to Orleans on the 4th of July for the annual Chatham versus Orleans matchup, and then back here on the 5th to square off for a second straight day against the Firebirds. The parade will be on the 4th of July, that being Tuesday, in the morning through the town of Chatham, Massachusetts. That's always a hit. Make sure to make it out to the streets of Chatham to catch the 4th of July parade. We'll be in it, strolling along. Make sure to say hi. We thank you for tuning in and sticking with us through this fog delay on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Joe Puccio still down on the field, waiting for a result as Eric Beatty and Tom Holliday, along with the three umpires, are now 3 minutes deep in conversation at home plate, and still no official word on tonight's contest. Visibility hasn't changed much since I last gave you an update, although I can faintly make out the right field foul pole in its yellow paint. So I guess that signalizes that maybe it's lifted just a hair down the right field line, but still, you can't see anything past maybe 50% visibility on the royal blue fence from left to right field. You can't see the hill, you can't see Depot Road, and you cannot see the fire station. This game experienced fog early pre-game on the field from about 5:30 to 6:30. There was a decent amount of fog, not much that would delay a game, but there were hints that there might be fog in the forecast tonight. But then it disappeared for first pitch. Chatham and Hyannis got underway, and for the first 4 to 5 innings, no sign of the fog. And then all of a sudden, as they like to trademark it around here, the 5th inning fog rolled in at Veterans Field. And for Hyannis' sake, luckily, the Harbor Hawks got through the bottom of the 5th and retired Chatham, leading by 3 in a 7-4 contest. And one batter into the top of the 6th, we entered a fog delay at 8:53 p.m. Eastern Time. Hyannis in front of Chatham 7-4. We've done our original 20-minute fog delay that we believed was the only delay they could do. They then added 10 minutes onto the fog delay to make it a 30-minute fog delay. And at the end of that, Tom Holliday and Eric Beatty walked out with the umpires to home plate 5 minutes ago, and they are still deep in conversation. Tom Holliday on the front right corner of the right-hand batter's box, toes on the chalk. Eric Beatty in the heart of the left-hand batter's box, with our home plate umpire, Fred DeJesus, standing 2 feet behind home plate, and our third base umpire, John Lamatia, and Warren Nicholson in front of the plate as well. Warren Nicholson, the first base umpire, was the umpire that actually put the game into a fog delay in the top of the 6th. Chatham scored all 4 runs in the second inning. 3 runs came on a 3-run home run from Hudson White, his first of the night. As for Hyannis, the Harbor Hawks scored 1 in the first off starter Jack Sokol, then 2 more on the 3rd inning, 3 in the 4th, and 1 in the 5th. 2 pitchers have been used tonight, or actually 3 pitchers have been used for Chatham, 2 for Hyannis. The Anglers started Jack Sokol. He went 3+ innings, surrendered 5 hits and 4 runs all earned. 2 walks and 2 strikeouts. Carlos Ray came into the game in the 4th. He was replaced with 2 outs in the 5th by Zach Harris. As for Hyannis, Ethan Bates tossed the first 3 innings, surrendering 4 runs, and then Cade Obermueller came in and went 1-2-3 through Chatham's lineup in both the 4th and the 5th. Had he not done so quickly, this game could have been into a fog delay in the bottom of the 5th. And if that were the case and you had to postpone, well, Hyannis would not have won tonight, and they would have had to reschedule to finish all 9 innings at a later date. But as of right now, we see handshakes at home plate. Tom Holliday just shook the hand of Eric Beatty. The game has been terminated, and Hyannis wins 7-4 through 5 innings over Chatham. Harbor Hawks strike for 7 runs on 9 hits, no errors, and 7 left on base. Chatham goes for 4 runs on 2 hits, 2 errors, and no men left on base. The Anglers winning ends at just 1 game. Chatham has still yet to record a winning streak in 2023, and the Hyannis Harbor Hawks snap a 2-game losing streak with a win through 5 innings, 7-4 over Chatham tonight. The Harbor Hawks move to 2-0 over the Anglers in 2023 with 2 more games to be scheduled, 1 at Hyannis and 1 at Chatham. Andrew Selover still with you at Veterans Field in the broadcast booth. Joe Puccio is meandering down behind home plate. We'll have a post-game interview here on technically the Anglers Extra post-game show, brought to you by the Chatham Athletic Association. The winning pitcher tonight, Cade Obermueller. The losing pitcher, Carlos Ray. Official game time started at 7:03. Fog delay began at 8:53, and the game was called at 9:30. That's a 2-hour and 27-minute contest if you include the fog delays. It's a 1-hour and 50-minute fog delay, minute game without the fog delay. They're singing "Take Me Out to the Ball Game." Let's listen in.
Game, take me out to the ball. Buy some Cracker Jacks. I don't care if I ever go back. 'Cause it's root for the Anglers. If they don't win, it's a shame. 'Cause it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game.
Yay! There you go. The fog might have gotten to their heads a little bit as they couldn't quite get the rhythm down in the first half of the song, but they figured it out, right? That's what's important. Having fun still here at Veterans Field. Technically on the Anglers Extra post-game show now on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Andrew Selover with you. We've gone through about 40 minutes of fog delay, and Chatham has lost its 12th contest, fallen for the 12th time this season, 7-4 to Hyannis tonight. The Anglers got off to a 4-1 lead through 2, but Hyannis stormed back to take a 7-4 lead through 5, and 1 batter into the top of the 6th. We entered a fog delay and never made it out alive. The fog has gotten even worse at Veterans Field. We told you when the game was called we had about 25 to 50% visibility of the outfield fence. Now we have 0% visibility of the right field fence. Chatham huddles down the third base line in front of its dugout. Hyannis groups all of its belongings in the first base dugout and prepares to exit Veterans Field and head back to Hyannis, Massachusetts with its 9th win of the season. The Harbor Hawks moved to 9-8-1 on the year through 18 games, and Chatham falls to 5-12-1 on the year through 18 contests as well. We can get you an updated standings check in the West and East divisions because all 5 games are technically now final on the night. Yarmouth Dennis moves to 11-7-1 with 23 points in first place in the East Division. Harwich goes to 11-7-0 with 22 points. Orleans falls to 8-10-0, 16 points. Brewster moves to 6-11-2, 14 points, and Chatham in last place in record and point standing at 5-12-1. The Anglers remain 3 points back of Brewster in fourth place and 5 points back of Orleans in third place. On the west side, Cotuit lost 3-2 to Harwich. They stay at 13-5-0, 26 points, still the best in the entire league. Bourne wins tonight and moves to 10-8-1, 21 points overall. Wareham falls tonight at Falmouth, and Hyannis wins, so the Harbor Hawks jump to third in the West at 9-8-1 with 19 points. Wareham is 8-9-2 with 18 points, and Falmouth wins its fourth straight contest to go to 7-10-2 at 16 points. Commodores 2 points shy of fourth place in the West. Again, your final totals tonight. Hyannis wins 7-4, 7 runs on 9 hits, no errors, and 7 left on base for the Harbor Hawks. 4 runs on 2 hits, 2 errors, and none left on base for the Anglers. Winning pitcher, Cade Obermueller for Hyannis. The loser, Carlos Ray for Chatham. Start time 7:03, finish time 9:30 for a total game time of 2 hours and 27 minutes. We now send it down to the field. Joe Puccio's ready for a post-game interview. He's with the home run hitter, Hudson White.
Andrew, I'm here with Hudson White on the field after Chatham gets fogged out in a 7-4 loss to Hyannis. Hudson, you had yourself a 3-run homer back in the second inning. How'd that at-bat feel?
Man, it felt good to finally get one, for sure.
When you say get one in the Cape League, how much work did you put in to get a home run in the Cape Cod Baseball League?
Yeah, I mean, it's every day. It's every day you're out there in the cage for hours, working at your craft. So to see it pay off, it feels good.
So the elephant in the room is that this gets fogged out. From a catcher's perspective, how important is there to be clear weather?
You want to be able to see the ball. I mean, if you're not seeing the ball, might not be a good thing. So.
How are you enjoying your summer so far?
It's been awesome. I love it up here. Yeah, Chatham's super nice. The team's awesome. Like the coaches. It's been awesome.
What did Tom Holliday say to you guys after a fog-out loss through 6 innings?
It's just unfortunate when a game gets cut short. Just get right back to it tomorrow.
Thanks so much, Hudson.
All you can do. Yeah, thank you.
That's Hudson White on the Anglers Extra Postgame Show. Andrew, let's wrap up shop.
Let's do that, Joe. We're going to take one last quick break. We'll get to your postgame highlights when we return. You're listening to the Anglers Extra Postgame Show on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Chatham falls to Hyannis in a fog-shortened game, 7-4. Stick with us for the postgame highlights on the other side of this break.
The screen door slams, Mary's dress sways. Like a vision, she dances across the porch as the radio plays. Roy Orbison singing for the lonely. Hey, that's me and I want you only. Don't turn me home again. I just can't face myself alone again. Don't you run back inside, darling, you know just what I'm here for. So you're scared and you're thinking that maybe we ain't that young anymore. Well, show a little faith, there's magic in the night. Ain't a beauty, but hey, you're alright. Oh, and that's alright with me. You can hide beneath your covers and study your pain. Make crosses from your lovers, throw roses in the rain. Waste your summer praying in vain for a savior to rise from these streets. Well, I'm no hero that's understood. All the redemption I can offer, girl, is beneath this dirty hood. With a chance to make it good somehow. Hey, what else can we do now? Except things are so weird.
Back here with you on the Cape Cod Baseball Network, Andrew Selover with Joe Puccio in the broadcast booth. It's time to check out our post-game highlights presented by the Chatham Athletic Association. Things got started quickly for Hyannis in the top of the first. After a leadoff single from Nick Mitchell, he was quickly brought around to score the game's first run. 0-1 pitch. Grounded through the right side, base hit. Mitchell comes home to score the first run of the game. Cam Smith rounds first with an RBI base hit. Hyannis leads Chatham 1-0 in the top of the first. The Anglers would strike right back, though. In the bottom of the second inning, it was still 1-0 in favor of Hyannis, and that's when Chatham got the first two aboard on walks. A sac bunt moved them over, and Caden Kent equalized the contest. 1-0. Lifted towards shallow left field, dropping quickly. Hainline races out. It falls past his outstretched glove. The runners had to hold up at first. Miller Green runs home to score. It's an RBI bloop single for Caden Kent, and Chatham equalizes 1-1 in the second. So at the time it was 1-1 with 2 on, and 2 batters later, well, Hudson White demolished a baseball. The 2-1. Golf deep down the left field line towards the foul pole. Is it fair? It is! A 3-run blast off the bat of Hudson White, and Chatham explodes to a 4-1 lead in the second. Things were all looking upward for the Anglers in the second inning, out in front of Hyannis big time. It was 4-1 in favor of the Anglers, but immediately in the top of the third, things switched against the starter Jack Sokol. Hyannis would get one back. He fires. Lifted the other way, back towards left field. Schubert in 2 steps. Hainline tags. The throw is cut off by Casarilla. It's a sac fly from Austin Kelly that scores Elijah Hainline. Chatham's lead is reduced to 4-2 in the third. With just 1 out and a 4-2 game, that's when the Harbor Hawks would tack on 1 more, courtesy of an RBI single off the bat of Eric Snow. 2-1. Grounded sharply through the right side, base hit. Smith scores from third. Taylor held up at second base. Eric Snow picks up an RBI with a single. It's now 4-3 Chatham in the third. Still just 1 man out. Keep in mind, at the time of these base hits, there was no fog to speak of. There was fog on the field pregame, and then by first pitch, it had evaporated. First 4 innings were fogless at Veterans Field, and it was in the 4th inning when Hyannis would strike and take the lead back for the first time since the first inning on a misplay in right field.
Pitch is clocked. Deep right field. Lyle Miller Green hustles back. He's at the track, and it hops over the wall. A ground rule double brings home 2 runs. Lyle Miller Green hustled back to his right. Seemed as if he camped under the baseball, but instead it went right over his head. Hopped over the wall for a ground rule double. Hyannis leads 5-4 in the top of the 4th.
The Harbor Hawks would tack on 1 more on an RBI groundout in that same inning, and it was a weird play in right field where you thought Miller Green had a beat on it, and all of a sudden he just missed it, and it bounced off the track and over the wall to give Hyannis the lead. It was 6-4 through 4, and the Harbor Hawks added on 1 more on another defensive miscue for insurance in the 5th.
He gave up 2 hits, walked 1, and struck out 1. 3-0 is blooped the other way for a base hit. Lipsy rounds second. He's on his horse towards third. He gets in standing. The ball gets away. Eric Beatty points for Lipsy to score, and he does so. Lyle Miller Green's throw in from right field is wayward to third. It got past Xavier Casarilla. Carlos Reyes scrambled for the loose ball as Trey Lipsy came home to score.
7-4 Hyannis, headed to the bottom of the 5th. And in important fashion, Cade Obermuller got Chatham to go down in order 1, 2, 3, Casarilla, White, and Etzel. And the fog steamrolled quickly in the bottom of the 5th and the top of the 6th. And it was the first batter in the top of the 6th, Cam Smith, who had the last play of regulation in this contest.
Is 1-2 pitch. is a fastball that's hammered. Right field, Lyle Miller-Green can't find the ball. It's in the right field corner. LMG can't see it, and the ball one-hops the wall. Smith rounds second. He's getting held up at third. It's a triple for Lyle Miller-Green as he could not find the ball in the fog.
So that was eventually the play that cost Chatham the game tonight. The Anglers couldn't quite make the game last long enough to not get through 5 innings, and a leadoff triple in the sixth. Lyle Miller-Green couldn't see it through the fog. That sent this game to a fog delay at 8:53 in the sixth, and at 9:30 p.m. Eastern, the game was officially ruled over. Chatham falls to Hyannis 7-4. The Harbor Hawks take the first 2 of 4 games between these two squads in 2023. Andrew Selover back in the broadcast booth with Joe Puccio, closing up on the Anglers Extra postgame show. Joe, that's another new one for us. We got our first fog delay last night, and we got our first fog out tonight.
Well, that was a weird way it went out. If you listen to Hudson White in the Anglers Extra postgame show, he said it was just unfortunate. There's no other way to put it. And so Chatham gets another chance to play against Brewster tomorrow on the road before the 4th of July matchups with Harwich on the 3rd and Orleans on the 4th and 5th. But it's just a weird ending. That's all you can say.
Mother Nature got the best of the Anglers tonight. Chatham falls at home 7-4 in a fog-shortened contest to Hyannis through 5 innings. Again, Carlos Ray the loser tonight, Cade Obermueller the winner, and total game time 2 hours and 27 minutes. Like Joe said, first pitch tomorrow, 5 p.m. at Brewster, Whitecaps and Anglers, with the Anglers Extra pregame show at 4:40. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Signing off for Joe Puccio, I'm Andrew Selover. Good night, everybody.
Chatham Anglers Baseball 2023 has been brought to you by the Chatham Squire, Sweet Tomatoes Pizza, the Red Nun Bar and Grill, Short and Sweet Ice Cream, Cape Cod 5, Audio Associates, the Chatham Bars Inn, and by the Chatham Athletic Association.
Chatham-based baseball, sports radio, play-by-play, summertime on Cape Cod.
This has been an exclusive presentation of Chatham A's Baseball on TRZ Team Line.
Chatham on TRZ.